What is going on, everybody? It is episode 402 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are back from a couple of shows that were a really big deal, and I feel ready to get back into the chill routine of it all. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But first, you've got to stop trolling. Take off the hat.
Oh, was there something I was supposed to do today? I forgot about that. Yes, hold on.
You had obligations to our audience.
There we go. Okay.
It looks good.
Okay, we're good.
Really good.
I'm not trolling. I did put the hat on because I didn't want them to be able to see it early. That's just rude.
But why did you decide to make the sides bleached as well? I thought you were going to leave the sides alone.
I figured that will end up coming up next time I have to get it trimmed because it's just going to be one of those things.
You're going to end up with frosted tips, right?
No, God, no. It's going to be awesome. Be like Lance Bass from NSYNC. It's going to be great. And we got a guest host with us today. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Labonte, anti-communist and counter-revolutionary.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Doing good?
Doing well.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, I'm sure every one of you has an opinion. Is Jonah Hill emotionally abusive for, having boundaries with his ex-girlfriend who was maybe sort of a pro surfer, but also a surf instructor, but maybe not a surf instructor? We'll get into all that. We will talk about it. I have a feeling that everybody will have some type of strong opinion on this one way or the other. We are also going to talk about feminist Barbie and the fact that Diablo Cody, the director of Juno, found out that she wasn't able to write her own version of it, and she's since said that, she wished she could have, but she couldn't. Now she wants to make the Paw Patrol movie. I say go make the Paw Patrol movie. We're also going to talk about Jill Scott being absolutely ridiculous and changing the lyrics to the national anthem to make it a race-baiting national anthem and then getting mad at people and saying, I didn't mean for it to be divisive. Shocking, I say. We'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about bad fan service. In this case, if you don't know who she is, her name's Stephanie Motto. She was on 90 Day Fiance. So if there's some ladies in the audience, I'm sure you guys have heard of 90 Day Fiance. She sold the graveyard plot next to her for $100,000 to a fan who apparently has no riz.
She's American, right?
Yes.
So meaning her fiance would be the international trying to get a green card out of her, right?
Yes.
It's usually the opposite way around, right? It's usually the women are trying to get the green cards out of American men.
That's the stereotype, yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to watch her season.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk also about Sky Jackson, who wants you to send her $5 so she can raffle off a MacBook.
You don't get it. You send me the $5, I send it back, and we both get $5. Easy.
It makes you wonder like who the people are that kind of end up in these types of engagements with people. I do wonder because it's like it's very easy as somebody who has an audience like a fan base that size to do stuff like this. What's his name? Soulja Boy comes to mind with his video game system that was really just a knockoff. You know what I'm talking about.
At least that was honest business. He's selling you a product.
Honest-ish.
It's not a raffle.
Honest-ish.
It's not a raffle where you just send an unspecified amount of money.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff, so if you guys are ready, we will get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Phil, you ready?
Yeah!
Let's do this. All right, first things first, I got a little bit of good news for you. Jamie Foxx waves to fans on a boat, looking healthy for the first time. His first public appearance.
Public sighting. He's a cryptid or something.
Yeah, well, I like somebody should make that like the image of Bigfoot, but make it an image of Jamie Foxx from Ray.
Did we find out for sure what happened to him?
Nope. His team and his daughter all obfuscated whatever it could be.
I guess it's not our business, but
it's really not. I
can't help but ask.
We're nosy. We want to know. What can we say? Also, guys, remember, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there, and then we will get back to what we were talking about. I saw some comments in the comments section with people who have varying opinions on whether that's a good thing thing or not. You know, people have their opinions. A lot of people who don't watch the channel regularly, when they're watching the segments, will then hear the crashing sound of the Crisis Party and have no clue what the hell is going on. I personally get a kick out of that, but I understand if that's not for everybody. You know,
Weekend at Jamie's. Oh,
hey,
no.
hey, not nice at all. All right, first things first for the comic book fans out here. This will impress a lot of people. First sighting of Hugh Jackman in the Wolverine suit for Deadpool 3, and they went comic book classic, which is crazy. So that'll be fun. I'm still of the opinion.
Look at the reply.
I'm still of the opinion that this didn't need to be made. I don't think they needed to ruin like we were just complaining about James Mangold ruining Indiana Jones by deconstructing a character. They already kind of did that with Logan, and it worked out well. There's no reason to bring him back again. After they gave Hugh Jackman
Old Man Logan.
Yes, but I'm saying, but they did that story and it came out really, really well in the movie adaptation called Logan. And there's no reason to bring the character back now. I don't feel like you need to do.
You feel like that was like kind of like wrapping up Logan.
That was a great send off. I don't think you needed to do more.
He was definitely dead by the end of the movie, which was supposed to give it its gravity, and now he's back.
Exactly. So to me, it doesn't seem necessary.
He's not back from the dead, I know, but he's back on screen.
That to me, the fact that it's like. In like the time sequence, it's earlier and stuff. It doesn't bother me because I feel like it's okay to tell multiple stories about characters.
Yeah.
And everything doesn't have to be linear.
But the problem for me with this is like what you know here is that they backed the money truck up. They're like, look, we will give you this amount of money to do this. If this was a comic and it was just the inspiration of a writer who's going to make the same either way, I buy the intellectual and artistic integrity of it. This is just like, look, we need to make this much money, back up the money truck to Hugh Jackman, and we'll make it work.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Scroll down to the reply.
The picture?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What are you talking about?
A guy photoshopped it so that he's carrying him. That's some good Photoshop.
Bros being bros, doing bro stuff.
It works. Nice. It works. It works really, really well. So we'll see if it ends up working out. Like I said, it was very unpopular of me to say that they didn't need to make this movie because everyone loves Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I just didn't think it needed to happen. And after seeing what we saw happen to Indiana Jones, do you really want Disney to take another crack at it? I would say no.
I mean, I get it. Like Disney is not has not done justice to a considerable number of the properties that they own.
Maybe they could hire me as Wolverine. I'm short. Wolverine is short. I can. I'll pack on the muscle. Give me the TRT and the HGH and let's go. I saw this amazing video.
Go past the TRT. You're gonna get into the trend zone.
I watched this amazing video over the weekend. It says like going and getting. It's from an account where it's like it says going and getting groceries with my short king, and this lady, she's like 7 feet tall. She's as tall as the top of the grocery aisle, and it's the boy. Like I can't tell if she's also like holding the camera up high.
He's probably average height.
Yeah. So it's like the camera's up here, so it's like him taking a thing of chips and handing them up to her, and he looks like a foot tall. It's incredible. It's like the greatest thing I've seen in a long time. Just going grocery shopping with my short king. I can't tell if it's a skit or if they're actually together.
Out of the friend zone and into the trend zone.
Yes. All right. So guys, make of that what you will, but we'll see what happens with it. Do we want to show them the video of...
Yeah, there's this deepfake video of Tom Holland and Nicki Minaj on Neighbor Wars, and it's so realistic.
All right.
It's kind of scary.
Let's play this. Phil, you'll be able to see it on that screen over here. Here we go.
On my honeymoon.
A homecoming.
Tom drops his bags, and then I started following right behind him like this.
The first thing I noticed was this horrible sort of boiled egg smell. Ugh.
Oof. We started entering into the house to find out what that smell was. And then I saw him, and I started to scream, "Ah!" And he was spread out like this.
Nikki and Tom were shocked to discover that the intruder was in fact their next-door neighbor, Mark Zuckerberg, who had somehow found his way into their home.
He was so strange. I'd not said
him in the juicy tracksuit.
It's so good.
On the bloody sofa.
The first one is kind of noticeable that it's fake. This one, it's much harder to tell.
Shaking him, trying to wake him up. Come on, mate. Mate, wake up. Hello. Come on, mate.
I And when he woke up, he didn't even apologize.
Get over her voice.
He just walked off like this. Like he was being beamed up into a starship. Our Spidey senses was tingling about him, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I just thought he was pissed. I just thought he'd have a shower, sleep it off, and we'd return to our routine highs and hellos.
But there was nothing routine about what happened next. As neighbor Mark's actions became even stranger.
Zuckening.
I want to watch that whole video. Like, do you ever wonder who has the time to make this stuff? Is that being sold somewhere? Like, somewhere on Earth, a guy, instead of going out for drinks with friends, instead of going and doing something that earns him income, decided to make that, and that's amazing.
I mean,
it's kind of scary though. Like if I were one of them and I saw this, I would be scared about like what's coming next.
Well, this is what I said when I showed everyone that video of Tucker Carlson being very rude to the women of the 21st century. I said, yeah, the end of the world's going to be awful, but it's going to be hilarious at the same time.
it would be hilarious. Yeah.
Like if I have to hear Tucker Carlson say a bunch of very, very inappropriate things, so be it, even if it's not actually him.
I mean, that's something that I actually would, go out of my way to hear, like Tucker Carlson just cursing people out.
It's great. It's great. All right. If you guys remember last week, we talked about Keke Palmer. Were you on that episode when we talked about, okay, so Keke Palmer, she's an actor. She got Bill Murray in trouble for saying naughty things on set.
She got serenaded by Usher recently.
Because Usher is a menace, as I keep talking about. Usher is a menace.
Okay, so I remember that.
And she was getting very friendly with Usher.
And her boyfriend slash husband slash boyfriend, it's not her actual husband, was like, look, I don't like you dressing like that and dancing with Usher.
They have now like scrubbed each other from each other's like social media profiles and unfollowed each other, which is like, is that really the mark of the end of a relationship in 2023?
Yeah,
that you don't follow each other on Instagram anymore?
They
have a baby together. Like, you're kind of stuck for life with that person.
Yeah, what if you need to talk to her? Like, what if something happens and her phone number keeps going to voicemail and you need to send her a message?
But I guess they broke up over this.
Imagine someday he's going to drop the kid off at her place and he can't call her anymore. They don't follow each other or something. Her numbers, she blocks him. He tries to send her a message and it goes to that like ultra extended like messages folder that nobody ever looks at. And then the kid, something happens to the kid.
But now Usher is on watch. It wasn't even Usher's fault, but he walked past Winnie Harlow and her boyfriend, and she immediately jumped into her boyfriend's lap to avoid any allegations.
That's kind of just being hilarious too.
Yeah.
Because that's like, I mean, it's a good joke,
I'm telling you, man.
Do you want to play the video?
Yeah, okay, here it is. I'm telling you, Usher's a menace.
You can't get too friendly with him.
They're also from different generations.
He also sang to Sweetie recently, and she was noticeably avoiding physical contact.
Somebody in the chat says Keke has vitiligo. No, this is a woman named Winnie Harlow.
Yeah, that's the mom.
Who jumped onto Kyle Kuzma's lap because she didn't want to get caught with the allegations that you're being. I saw whole YouTube channels talking about this over the weekend, kind of in the same way that we're going to talk about Jonah Hill. They were like, was she wrong? Was he wrong?
Of course she wasn't wrong.
Keke or Winnie?
Keke or Winnie. No, they were talking about Keke, about her dance.
Keke was definitely in the wrong.
Okay, Keke's the one that was dancing with him?
Yes.
That was basically had a sheer...
Yes.
She was in the wrong.
And really what she was wearing it's immaterial. It doesn't matter. But it was the fact that she was getting so like cozied up to Usher that was the issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
But her boyfriend wasn't honest enough that was the issue.
There's this great video series that I keep telling people. It's this comedian who he does like honest rap video things where he like makes fun of them, and he has a whole series called Usher's a Menace where he goes through all these videos and it's like, why is Usher going up to this woman and like grinding on them and then saying I'm not into you and then running away? It's like he's a menace.
Yeah,
we love it. Video. We love Usher.
I thought you sent.
I sent you one of them, but he's got a whole bunch of them where it's just Usher's a Menace.
It's weird because Usher is not like cool anymore.
Well, that's
I mean, maybe to you, but there's a whole generation of women that Usher
like Keke Palmer is my age.
Sweetie
or older.
didn't know the lyrics to his song.
Well,
Like, she wasn't singing along, and it's because she's like half his age.
He's like, but when they see him, they're like, look at this powerful producer who could make me more famous if I pretend like I like his music.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I got no problem with Usher. I don't have to worry about him grinding on me, so he doesn't bother me. But
no,
it is what it is.
Usher's fine. He's literally just trying to entertain people and stuff. So like, I mean, I really don't see anything wrong. Girls that have boyfriends should not be like grinding up on him. Shouldn't be like, it's like, if you want to sit there and listen to him sing or whatever, fine, but like, you shouldn't be grinding up on him. But I mean, it just reminds me of like women when they go to like Chippendales. They're just dirty, grabby, the most.
And they're doing it to imitate sleazy men. It's not because they actually are into.
Men are not supposed to grab anything.
They're
at
not
the strip
doing
club.
it to imitate sleazy men at all, because men, if a man stands up,
you do not do any of that.
If there's a girl at most strip clubs, if there's a girl that's in front of you and you stand up, security is on you. Like they're not doing it to, they're doing it to entertain themselves and their friends. They're not doing it to imitate sleazy men, because men get beat for that kind of stuff in a strip club.
My thing is like the Chippendales aesthetic is like what gay men find attractive about other men, and not what women are attracted to.
I feel like you're right when it comes to what people say, but you see women go to like
So
Magic Mike
weird
and
to
go
me.
out and they act, and it's probably, the women that go out to those things are going to act a certain way, and they're probably in a minority, because not everyone's going to be interested in going out to like Chippendales and stuff or whatever. But still, like, they're out of hand.
Usher was keeping it tasteful.
Usher was, yes.
Well,
So he shouldn't be blamed for
should not.
this situation.
all right, guys. I got a little bit more about Sound of Freedom. Did anybody see this over the weekend, where there is a conspiracy theory, which could be a conspiracy fact very soon, where multiple theaters across the country mysteriously had the air conditioning go out at the theaters playing Sound of Freedom.
Is that really?
I imagine like really, really bitter Bob Iger, like, I will pay you, theater worker, $5 whole to turn the air off in these theaters.
If this is true, I would assume that it's a group of people banding together from the internet,
People
not
on
Disney
Reddit,
trying
people on
to-
Reddit that know, that work
exactly.
at like movie theaters. Someone said,
or
hey,
Jezebel readers.
yeah, if you're like, it's one of the political posts and it's like, look, we're trying to do this. If you work at, at or maybe in some Discord or whatever, but like, if you work at a movie theater and this is blah, 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 see if you can do this. And how many theaters did you say that it happened at?
Jack Posobiec tweeted about it. He said, I know there have been a few videos about this theaters without AC thing regarding Sound of Freedom, and I have no idea if it was just a one place or not. In the comments, have you had tickets for Sound of Freedom refunded due to lack of AC or other issues? He said he saw stories in Loudoun County, Virginia, a theater in Texas, and another in North Carolina. And then a bunch of the replies...
Chris Burtman said that this happened to him here.
A bunch of the replies from other cities were saying the same thing happened. It could be a coincidence.
In the chat right here.
I mean, if they were interested in getting people's tickets refunded to hurt the movie's performance, then wouldn't they like trip the fire alarms or
Plus,
something?
like, would one AC unit really be per theater, or would it all be on one line that would affect multiple theaters? It's also very possible, guys. Like, look, it was a very hot weekend, at least out here this past weekend. We had, in fact, I'm still worried about it right now. Like, the power up here tripped several times and took the internet out. It's possible that it just went out.
Yeah.
But we have in the chat, Brenda C says this happened to her. So it's possible that this is happening. If there are that many examples, it's messed up, right? And everyone...
Someone said in Scottsdale, Arizona, there was no AC in only their theater on July 3rd. AC worked everywhere else in the building. We weren't refunded, but we were given passes to come back for a free show. That's weird that it would be just that theater. But then again, in Arizona, it would be like boiling hot. You could chalk it up to an accident.
Yeah.
But that's really sketchy, though.
Also good that they didn't refund you, because if they refund you...
Right, that would confirm the conspiracy.
Yeah, like, better that they didn't refund them, because that would be a problem, right?
But I never walk out of a movie theater and remark on how it was too hot in the theater. It's always way too cold.
Where we go, it's always really good.
Yeah.
Like, where we go, it's always
But there
really
was
good.
somebody else in, like, nearby us in Maryland who said they had a problem like that. in the comments.
I don't know. Like, it's after the absolute ridiculous reaction of all the news outlets over the weekend, in which they all got roasted for posting their weird articles, but then everyone kept comparing them to their various articles about cuties. They're getting what they deserve.
True.
Did you see the? I mean, it was like an avalanche.
Another
of
one from Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
The references to QAnon are spreading. In mainstream media outlets.
It's really weird that like the response to "Hey, this is about child trafficking" is "Hey, you're a conspiracy theorist," when the federal government talks about the problem, of human trafficking, and these are real things that really happen, and for the media to try to talk them down or to brush over them, specifically because these tend to be a political division line, which is insane that it's politically dividing.
This article from Rolling Stone is titled "Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms. The QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer."
It's based on a true story, so they're insane and they're bad actors. Also, there was just a story over the weekend about some government employee at some military base
in Camp Pendleton. 29 Palms,
so it's like, and then a bunch of people hit the comment section of that one, says, "I was told by reliable sources at Rolling Stone, The Guardian, and other such papers that this is a conspiracy theory. What gives?"
I encourage everyone watching to go watch Jordan Peterson's interview with Jim Caviezel and Tim Ballard that he recently did, because he had Tim Ballard like respond one by one to every criticism that is given to his organization, Operation Underground Railroad, that is on his Wikipedia page. And Wikipedia is known for kind of defaming a lot of politically inconvenient people, Jordan Peterson included.
I was also possibly wrong. Look, I assumed that in 2018, when this movie was being made, that the reason the producers didn't want Jim Caviezel was because he's radioactive, because Angel Studios wasn't involved yet.
Yes.
I guess, like, I saw multiple things. One says that the producer came to Caviezel because they were having a hard time finding somebody to take on the material. And another one said that they didn't want him because he didn't look like Tim Ballard. I thought they actually made him look a decent amount like Tim Ballard.
Yeah.
Which is weird. So I got like various explanations for that. But somebody on Twitter said like I don't remember if I actually said because of his past with the Passion of the Christ and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I made that statement, but in case I did, I assumed that the reason the producers in 2018 didn't want him involved was due to the fact that he had just become persona non grata in Hollywood for such a period of time. Also, I didn't know that Tim Ballard was Mormon.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
They didn't address that in the movie, by the way.
No.
But it says, Ballard, Caviezel, and others of their ilk had primed the public to accept Sound of Freedom as a documentary rather than delusion by fomenting moral panic for years over a grossly exaggerated epidemic, quote unquote, of child sex trafficking. Yep. Much of it funneling people into conspiracy rabbit holes and QAnon communities.
The average person who saw this movie
Citation, please.
The average person who says this is like, what the fuck is QAnon? Like, they don't know what QAnon is.
I think so.
They have no clue.
I'll never forget the day when my dad texted me, "What is QAnon?"
There was I kid you not, when I was at this movie, there was a lady who had to keep getting up to go to the bathroom with a walker. The lady with the walker who's moving at 0 miles an hour isn't looking up QAnon conspiracy theories.
No, but they would still arrest her if she went into the Capitol.
It also accused Sound of Freedom of fetishizing the torture of child victims.
Unbelievable.
Lingering over lush preludes to their abuse.
This is
as if it showed that much. It hid everything.
It did a perfect job of showing you what was about to happen and to imply the gravity of it without actually showing anything.
I can't believe that this kind of documentary is being downplayed and looked and treated as if it's a negative thing by the media. It's really, really surprising to me because this isn't something that
they out themselves every couple of years.
There shouldn't be anything like this.
And it is like I did have like on one of my more black pilled moments. I'm like, if we can't unite around the idea that hurting kids is bad, then
What do we have?
We're screwed.
Yeah.
Like we're absolutely screwed as a society.
It's true.
If the harming of children, and then there was also people I mentioned on Friday. They're like, well, most of the kids that are sold into slavery, they're sold into work slavery. I'm like, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
Kidding
That's
me?
also not what the movie was about.
Yeah, and that was what we kept talking about, right? It's like they want it to be something that it's not, because what it is. It's insane to me. And like I said, somebody in the chat says like, look, they said like, I used to work in the movie theater for 20 years. Air conditioners going out is common. That could absolutely be what this is. And it does kind of like, if you don't want them to think you're a QAnon conspiracy theorist, maybe like peddling this without actually, doing a little bit of introspection and saying like, well, it is also possible that it was just a hot day out and maybe this just happens. You should at least preface that so that they don't think the worst of you for thinking that you are the conspiracy theorist that they're claiming that you are for going to see this movie, because you're not a conspiracy theorist for going to see this movie. It's absolutely worth your time to go see it again.
It really happens. They didn't fabricate this stuff. There are people like, you didn't hear this kind of reaction when Taken came out.
Nope.
Right? Like, it wasn't like, oh, we need to blah 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 stop. It's like, Taken was a movie about human trafficking, and it made how many sequels now?
They would
Five?
they'd be okay with it now because it's mostly Eastern European bad guys, and as long as the bad guys are white, they're like, okay, that's fine.
This is another crazy line from the Rolling Stone article. As implausible as the movie is, it invents a finale where Ballard journeys deep into a jungle alone to pluck a girl from the clutches of guerrilla militants.
So?
Which he accomplishes by posing as a doctor distributing cholera vaccines.
Again, I say so.
Is that not literally plucked from the true story?
I don't believe that. I believe that
from?
part is added. I believe that part is added.
They should have had him go in with rocket launchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it should have just been, Commando.
My guess is that it all ended at the actual,
and how can you validate everything that was shown in the movie without violating the privacy of the real people who were involved?
And they showed the actual footage of the takedown on the island in the movie.
Yes.
So it's as close to a true story as you can get.
But it's an island, so you're conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm sorry, was Little St. James not Jeffrey Epstein's island?
Exactly.
Did that not happen?
It was absolutely shocking to me.
But thank you, Rolling Stone, for letting us know that Epstein did, in fact, end his own life.
Rojo says Taken was Arab Muslim bad guys. I don't think so in the first one.
Well, they were sold to Arab Muslim.
But the people that took them were in like
Eastern
Russia
European.
they're always vaguely Eastern European, right?
Yeah,
so
vaguely
they can give
Eastern
them
European, because that's the safe thing to say.
Exactly. So it is what it is. They love. I mean, John Wick does the same thing.
And
Russian
to be fair,
bad guys.
Eastern European, there are Muslims in Eastern Europe. There are like entire areas that are heavily Muslim in Eastern Europe. So that are just as Caucasian as I am.
Whether you actually believe that this movie was being thwarted, like I'm trying to picture who it would actually be. Is it Disney because they're just pissed that it beat Indiana Jones a couple of times because it lost?
It's definitely not Disney. If this is true, which I honestly doubt that it is true, then it would be probably, like you said, like people who band together on Reddit or Antifa forums. Or whatever.
There are a lot of people that it's essentially slacktivism. It's like it's super lazy, easy activism.
I'm picturing like a guy like it's the middle of summer. Just pictures because you're in like Arizona. It's literally so hot you can see like the waves. And a guy all black jeans, black hoodie, black mask. He's like sneaking up behind the theater like this, and it's just the most noticeable thing in the world because the sun.
And he presses the no AC button.
Yeah.
And he stops.
Big red button that says turn off AC.
He stops and he looks around.
No, it's a big switch. It's one of these.
Yeah.
And it says AC on, off.
And he goes,
the lever.
He makes this face. He goes,
just that.
And he turns it down really theatrically. Yeah. And then he goes and then he goes inside to see Indiana Jones again because he has to give Disney his money.
Yeah.
Another line said, nonetheless, the mostly white-haired audience around me could be relied on to gasp, moan in pity, mutter condemnations, applaud and bellow amen at moments of righteous fury, as when Ballard declares that God's children are not for sale. Well, how dare they feel strongly about a movie that they're watching?
Yep. Don't
how
enjoy
dare
it
they
too
feel
much.
I will
strongly about an actual humanitarian crisis.
I will play devil's advocate on one thing here, and that's their focus on the QAnon aspect of Caviezel being like talking about that stuff can in a lot of ways be compared to how we will critique actors talking about feminism or shit that has nothing to do with their movies.
That's not a comparison still, because even when we cover that to that press for all these movies, which is our job, we still give those movies the benefit of the doubt and judge them based on their content alone.
Yes, but like a lot of these weren't even reviews. They were just, it was like, because these people have no charisma or screen presence, so they wouldn't be able to do this on camera, so they have to write shitty articles about it. It is what it is. Go see The Sound of Freedom. It's absolutely worth your time. Everyone that I know that has seen it has come out saying that it was extremely hard to watch, but extremely worth their time. So everyone should go do that, I say. All right, guys. What would you like first? Cringe or cute of the day? Because we got 2 cringes today.
Cringe. Let's get them out of the way.
Cringe. All right. Let's show the video first. Mary, I need you to tell me if this is in fact, I was going to say kosher, but that's not the right word for this. Let me know if this is in fact the behavior of a priest. You're going to have to let us know here as the expert.
I identify as the bass player.
That, I think they call that liberation theology.
Does it? Do they usually wear jeans underneath?
Dude, his knee is exploring.
I mean, not necessarily.
His leg is exploring.
This cannot possibly be a priest. There's no way.
Yeah, I bet it is.
What the? Wait, he did not have to go for the extra bit at the end there. He is extra.
Excommunicate him
I
immediately.
really feel like this is just South America. I feel like that's
different
just
culture.
Normal South
Different
American
culture. Okay,
behavior.
that's fine with me. Like
I certainly hope it's not real.
You know, the man, you know, he's got a lot of souls to save. And if that's the dance he has to do to go saving souls,
it's July, man. It's not like you can be like,
oh, he's a rabbi. Aren't there crosses on his stole?
I can't tell. Okay, so he's a rabbi.
Is he?
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's a
rabbi in South America.
You know, it is what it is. I know nothing of what this means. I just thought I would bring it to people's attention. I saw this over the weekend, and I was like,
I have no idea.
Holy moly, am I right? All right, we got one more cringe of the day, guys. This one's hilarious. Robert Downey Jr. says that men's Star Wars in the entire planet should be a matriarchy.
Wrong.
Thoughts?
Wrong.
So here's what it says. It says Robert Downey Jr. says working on Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's film about the development of the first nuclear weapons, confirmed his belief that the entire planet should be a matriarchy.
By the way, I know that this was fake news, by the way. I had to mention it. Christopher Nolan's coming out as non-binary.
It was incredible. No, it's not real. I got
fake news.
Kellen sent it to me, and
but
I'm like,
I actually believed it.
Kellen,
at first.
he's old. Like
Kellen is the boomer that believes every fake news article.
He sent it to me, and it was from Discussing Film, but the tag was like Discussing Film 08911113. I was like, plus I was like, this account in it, that must fool a lot of people.
Damn, that's one way to market.
Because that one had 20. No, you know what it probably is? It's probably payment from Barbie. They're probably out trying to sabotage the movie. But yeah, he says, so being able to, under Christopher Nolan's direction, to kind of invite the audience to be involved in this mediation, it's kind of, we all know the films of the last 50 years have this kind of been important in the way, as well as entertaining and thrilling, blah, blah, blah. He's talking about how in that movie, it's all men, right? That are the ones creating around the atomic bomb.
Supposedly nukes would have never been invented if we lived in a global matriarchy.
I just decided
which
to
is
Google.
True, but only because they need male scientists to actually those
we would be in the
discoveries and
Stone Age
technologies.
if we lived in a global matriarchy.
That's why they're trying to push the women into STEM right now, right? They want the women to create the next.
And people are going to die.
What will be the next atomic bomb? Hopefully,
you'll be like first. It starts as you being mildly inconvenienced at the airport when the diversity hires at the counter can't figure out how to check you in.
It starts with your movies are bad.
The movies are bad, and everything's just generally getting uncomfortable. But then people are going to start dying.
But I did things fall out of the sky, bridges fall down.
Yeah. Oh, Xavier had a tweet on his way home. No, it was like a Threads, because I checked Threads once.
Oh, goodness.
And he's like, I got a female pilot on my way home from Israel. It was nice knowing y'all. I was
Another one was like, I think I have internalized misogyny because I saw that I have a female pilot and I got a little worried.
The good news is in most modern planes, at least, the computer does a lot of the flying.
Yeah.
Like it does a lot.
Who invented that technology?
A guy, hopefully.
Men.
But I did look up, I said, just 10 most evil women rulers in history, and there are more than a few of them. That's all I'm saying, right?
They have violent tendencies.
It's like, also I was thinking, like, look, if you're a female ruler now, you've got even more incentive to be mean, because we live in a society that tells you your anger is righteous and all your actions are virtuous because of how you've been held back. So if that means sending a bunch of men off to war to die, remember, women are the real victims of war.
Well,
so says Hillary Clinton.
You're still gonna need a male standing army as the female ruler to get anything done, right?
You know, and my favorite thing about this list here is it just goes all around the world.
Yep.
You know,
my favorite is
Asia.
Queen Elizabeth I of Spain, because within the first sentence it says, in her quest to purify her nation. Anytime it starts with purify, bad things are afoot.
The sanitized story of the Woman King.
Yeah.
Where they didn't address that this tribe it's based on was like a war tribe, like that they would colonize and they would
enslave.
They would colonize and enslave and kill people.
Yeah.
Because that's not a girl boss story.
I'll never forget. I had somebody say this to me, like a friend who made a Facebook post back when I had a Facebook about this during COVID, where he's like, if the whole world would be better off during COVID if we were under female rulers.
We already were, and we saw how that went.
Yeah.
I mean, women were the most stringent enforcers of those.
Well,
protocols.
yeah, because they know what's good for you, and when they know what's good for you,
because they have this intense like mothering instinct for people who aren't their children.
I do, yeah. Like a lot of like what I've been told is a lot of people believe that a lot of modern day female progressives, it's really just sublimation from the fact that they're not having kids. So therefore, I'm gonna have to pick a cause.
They need to nanny society.
Absolutely.
Because
imagine that
they don't have children under their care.
Absolutely.
Imagine how annoying that is, considering even people in your family don't want to be bothered, nannied by their parents, let alone somebody telling you how to live
The whole lockdown was
your life.
us getting longhoused.
Yeah, basically. Like, can you think of I was going to say, can you think of an example off the top of your head? Everyone knows Hillary Clinton was an awful person.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't believe for a second that Hillary Clinton would gladly send your children off to die.
I need Clinton-Trump 2024.
Let's go.
Let's just do it all over
Wait,
again.
I think they should run together. I think
That's what I thought you were talking about. You're talking about Clinton and
Clinton
Trump
versus Trump in 2024.
You're going to get something similar, I think, with Biden. Honestly, I think
similar, but I just kind of want to relive the
this in
whole
2016.
It won't be the same this time around. It won't be the same. This
I think
around.
that the if it does come down to Trump,
if it's
Biden,
Kamala versus Trump,
no, that there's no way that'll happen because she would get trounced. No, the Democrats know that she is one of the least likable people in Washington. Like her poll numbers are atrocious. They have data that says, look, the last thing you want is Kamala Harris trying to run. But if it's Trump and Biden, it's going to be like super low turnout because nobody cares about going to vote for Biden. I really don't think that especially considering the performance that he's had, the past 2.5 years, I really don't think. I think that I don't think that that's going to make people want to vote for Trump. I think it's going to make people not want to go to vote.
I disagree. I think that turnout ends up being high because what they've done is they've worked to get kids more involved, and kids invariably vote left. And I think you end up getting the TikTok generation. That's why they're investing in influencers. They want kids out there voting, and they've activated the activist generation of children.
I don't think that that is going to work with Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden is a bad candidate.
Dude, people don't care. All they care about is that it isn't Trump. That's like they don't care about anything other than just not Trump. You can't give people 8 years of that much propaganda and not expect it to stick.
I like I said, I'm not saying that I think Donald Trump's going to win. I'm just saying it's going to be a very low turnout because Trump isn't compelling to anyone except for his base. Yeah. And nobody likes Biden. Yeah. Biden because of performance, and Biden doesn't have any kind of like personal, attraction. He's not funny. He doesn't entertain people. It's just that he's not Donald Trump. And
You think kids don't care? Somebody in the chat says kids don't care. I think more than any other generation in history, more kids care now because we've turned politics into a fashionable thing to care about.
I mean, on social media is different than actually voting.
Well, they're going to have to beat the 81 million votes
if they can get
that he got. I don't think that the average person is watching CNN. Has CNN reported anything bad that
the
Biden
average
has
person
done?
is not watching the news.
They're following social media and they're relegated to their algorithm based on what they follow. So they might not be watching CNN on the news, but they're watching CNN clips. They're watching clips from mainstream networks. Has the mainstream network done any work to report on the bad things Biden has done? To a lot of these people, they think everything's okay.
What percentage of the population do you think is actually like paying any kind of attention beyond?
Very low.
In that case, it's bad because it's vote blue no matter who, and Republicans are for old rich people.
Over the weekend, I saw this tweet that listed out like how many vacation days our recent presidents have taken. Yeah. And I think that it said Biden has spent 39% of his presidency so far on vacation, which is bad. It sounds kind of crazy. They said like he was taking something like 350 vacation days so far, and that George W. Bush had 1,020 vacation days.
Took them or
took? Yeah, he took those.
In his 8 years.
Unless they're for some reason counting weekends, but I think you're pretty much on call any day. Yeah. So he took those days. It's kind of crazy.
I just don't see it as one of those things where I think as long as the media does the ironclad job of just not reporting on the bad stuff that happens, the average person doesn't know what's going on.
Let's put this political talk to rest.
That's a good point. Who the hell needs it, right? The fact of the matter is women rulers, women politicians, just as awful as men.
Robert Downey Jr. needs to get off the Soylent.
There was a picture of him at like an Oppenheimer premiere where he looked slightly healthier.
Okay.
Like he had his hair back. It had some color to it. His muscle tone looked like it.
They gave him some adrenochrome.
Yeah, like maybe they doped him up with some adrenochrome, but he looked healthier. Like it was like a photo of him on a rooftop with like Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, and John Krasinski. Okay. And he looked moderately healthy. So maybe his brain will come
John
back
Krasinski in Oppenheimer?
I don't know.
Or he was just there.
Maybe he was just there. Yeah.
We still got Cute of the day, right?
Cooch Wizard in the chat says Brett's hair is awful. LMAO. That is very mean, my friend. That is very mean.
Brett is just going to hyper focus on the negative feedback, and then after this is over, he's going to claim that everyone hated it.
Oh no, they love it.
But everyone loves blonde Brett.
All right, here we go. We're going to do Cute of the day. This first is from Jeremy Kenrick. He says, at Mary, at Brett, lazy afternoon for Sunday pets. Look at that. That's a good looking pooch.
Thank you.
It's a good looking pooch. And we got one more here. What's up?
I should have submitted my dog.
You should.
I know.
Right there on Twitter. A lot of people don't because they just don't have Twitter. You have a Twitter. You can submit it over there.
Yes.
I'll submit it.
All right. And we got one here from Olivia Claire. Says crocheted mocha, first 2 picks, and Chloe, the last pick, a cowboy hat. So I have to resubmit for I'm sorry, but mocha looks mocha doesn't look like, maybe the hat is a little bit much.
I love it. The tongue sticking out.
It is adorable.
That's so cute.
Let's see this one. That one looks like it could be a poster.
He's like, what in tarnation?
Yeah, like that one looks like it could be a poster. We got a $20 one there from Crispy Leg Transport.
He said, I don't know who's going to win in 2024, but why is popcorn so high at the movie theater? Next visit, I'm sneaking in snacks. Yes, let's go.
Smart. Mary
this
sneaks
is the way.
Mary sneaks in the snacks, and she's in the loudest containers you can possibly sneak them in.
We fund the arts here.
Yes.
All right, submitted. Cute of the day.
All right.
Hashtag cute of the day.
On Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Well, you need to do PCC pets.
Did you send it to me? Did you send it to me?
No, I just did hashtag cute of the day.
Oh, no, hashtag PCC pets. Yep.
We'll find it. It's fine.
It's adorable.
It'll be easy.
Well, we can wait. We can wait. That is, but that's a good looking hat.
We should do it without Phil here, just so we can have unbiased opinions.
We'll save it for tomorrow. All right, let's get started then, ladies and gentlemen. First, let's talk about Jonah Hill. So over the weekend, this discussion kind of exploded on Twitter, especially where Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend released a bunch of text messages between the two. Really, they're just texts from him, in which she calls them emotionally abusive, and other people are saying, like, look, this is just Jonah Hill setting his boundaries. Yep. We're going to read through them, and we will let you decide, and everyone will make their opinions known. So, Mary, go ahead and read through the texts, will you?
His ex-girlfriend, Sarah Brady, started off this tirade saying, I hope my ex has a daughter. Maybe she'll turn him into a real feminist, because the fact that he calls himself a feminist now is laughable.
Well, that's your first mistake. Don't call yourself a feminist. That's
horrible.
I think first red flag for Jonah Hill is that he's a male feminist. Automatically off the bat, I would assume that he's probably toxic in relationships. But here's some more. He said, it's just constant and doesn't reflect where we're at or where you say you want to be. I respect your skill and your surfing. I respect how you want to present yourself. I respect that you're hot and beautiful, and I respect however you want to live, but I also respect myself and what I'm interested in my own life and what I let into my heart and inner circle. So celebrate yourself and your life however you please. Shine bright. But I don't want to have to deal with I don't know, that was cut off in the screenshot. He also said, this one was the most widely circulated. He said, plain and simple, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, to friendships with women who are in unstable places from your wild recent past, beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for romantic partnership. My boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. And again, this is totally out of context. Yeah. So we don't know if there was some like repeated, like, I don't know, misdoings she was not including in this story. There were some more where he said that she needed to delete all of her pictures that she was in a bathing suit. She's a professional surfer. She like competitively
semi-professional surfer or something.
Some people were saying that her job is that she's a surf instructor, but apparently that's not true. She posted today saying it was like funny that people thought that. She prefaced it saying, this is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan.
That is literally...
Love y'all. Call me if you need an ear. And then she also said, like, he's misusing the term boundaries. She said...
in the chat, they want to know why this is news. It's news because these types of questions come up often these days.
Well, especially after the Keke Palmer story.
And or even anytime you talk about Pearl, right? It talks about men, women, and the relationships between men and women. You should also take a little bit of a grain of salt that Jonah Hill is going to be in a very different place than your average man because of his wealth and status. But what he's saying here is still something that everyone can look at and figure out whether this applies to them.
By the way, she complied with his requests of deleting these photos and like reported back. She complied. That's on her. If she felt that his requests were unreasonable or inappropriate or abusive or whatever, then she shouldn't have gone along with it. But that part is on her.
Someone's opinion on where he sets his boundaries is just that. Someone's opinion on where he sets his boundaries. Everyone is going to have a different estimation of what is and is not acceptable in their relationship.
Right, but people are saying they got together because he slid up into her DMs complimenting one of her pictures where she's in a swimsuit, and then presumably months into their relationship then decides that it's an issue that these photos are public.
That's what people are saying, but we don't know that. Do we know that's the case?
We don't know, okay. But that's kind of the story that she's wanting us to believe, and I'm not gonna assume one way or the other, but it does seem at least it's not abusive, it just seems stupid to get in a relationship with someone whose job conflicts with what you want in a relationship.
So
right?
I get her perspective and I get his perspective, because there are times where, like in my past, where people have been like, I start dating someone or something, and it's like they have certain preconceived notions or whatever, or we start dating and it's like, oh, who's this person, or why are you doing this? And it's like, well, I'm in a band. Like, this is part of my job, going out and talking to people, taking pictures with people. Like, if you have a problem with me taking pictures with people, like, that's going to be an issue in the relationship. If you have a problem with distance, that's going to be an issue in the relationship, because I tour and stuff. So I get it, like, that if you sign up for something, you're signing up for something. That being said, I don't know what their their agreements are, or what their conversations are like, or what their relationship was like. And if he's just like saying, look, these things are a problem because of something else, because he did mention something about her recent past or whatever, like,
yeah.
And so it's like if it's something that they had conversations about that she doesn't make known, which is what he's alluding to, I don't think boundaries are a problem. Like I said, I do understand if someone's like, look, you're getting into something, you know what you're getting into. But I still don't think boundaries are a problem. And he's not a jerk about it. He's not calling her names, you know?
Right, but it almost seems like he's using therapy speak to make unreasonable expectations seem more reasonable. Because he even made like this glowing documentary about his therapist who taught him all about boundaries and all this language that you can put to your...
Aren't you not supposed to use it to put it into practice?
Right, like But he seems like so obsessed with the therapy speak.
Also, he didn't release
not
this.
Able to,
she did. So it's not like he released this for the benefit of people being able to see how well he spoke his boundaries. She released these documents, not him.
I'm saying in private.
So you think that kind of speak is a type of manipulation? He's
using the word boundaries to talk about her behavior rather than his own behavior, which is not the correct usage of that term. And I saw this one take that said, the thing about Jonah Hill and his texts show that he has become obsessed with therapy speak and is using that to parse his relationships. The man literally made a documentary about how much he loved his therapist. That is not someone who actually has healthy relationships. And I have to agree, and maybe that's not fair, because I assume he's had negative experiences with women in relationships just because obviously his looks are not the reason that they find him attractive. It's probably his money and status instead. And they might have treated him a certain way because of that. And he's on guard because of that in the past. And I want to get through more of what the screenshots showed. But after she deleted some of these pictures,
wouldn't it also be a problem if he's like, "Yo, bitch, if you don't delete these pictures, we're gonna." That's just as bad, right?
Well, sure, but it's really just the same request but different wording. And after he requested she delete these photos, he said, "Good start. You don't seem to get it, but it's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear, and I hope it makes you happy."
Look, he gave her the option. She might not like the option,
but
he gave her the option and gave her the out.
It's weird to get into a relationship with someone whose job conflicts with what you want in a relationship, and then months into the relationship, spring those expectations or standards onto them unexpectedly and cause them a bunch of unnecessary pain having to end the relationship, or you just wasted their time.
So would the better of choice been for him to just be like, "Look, I realize that this is not going to work because I can't ask you to make these changes because this is your job and it would be unfair of me to ask." Then she would be mad for him not giving her the choice to make that decision for herself.
I think that the feminists would still be mad if he had made these boundaries clear at the start of the relationship, which would be his prerogative. Like, I would think it's totally fair if before you date someone, you state what you expect from them. But if you go months into the relationship to wait and then spring it on them...
Do we know if this is the point where maybe they just became exclusive here and now he's got these to put into place now that he knows it's a more serious relationship?
In other screenshots, he was referring to their couples therapist who they saw for 4 months, which is, it's crazy that you would be in couples therapy and you're not even married. Like, there's nothing to save
and
there.
like only a couple months in, like it's
right.
Just, it's
like this was months into the relationship that he was doing this, and it seems like a stupid decision. It doesn't seem like he's emotionally abusive like she's claiming, but at the very least, it's dumb.
She decided to air this stuff out years later, so I automatically take his side just out of spite.
This is all purportedly from 2021 when they were dating. And the timing is interesting because she's put out all of these screenshots right like a month after his now fiance has given birth to their child. And now she's claiming that she purposefully waited for this moment, supposedly to save the mother of his child from any physical distress that would jeopardize her pregnancy.
That she is garbage.
Which I think is cloaking your your
Like,
self-serving interests.
even
as
even if
altruism.
Jonah's behavior was, even if what you guys are saying about the whole therapy talk and stuff, even if that's all true, she's still garbage. Because the point of this is to make a problem for him, which she is actually saying, I'm releasing this so that way
She can
his
make a-
new girlfriend and
Brett,
blah blah. Like,
play
I'm looking to
play
have
the
an
audio.
effect.
She
How
posted this
awful.
audio on her Instagram story today explaining why she waited until this exact moment.
Even if his words were manipulative, her behavior makes it impossible
yeah,
for me to side
absolutely.
with her.
Absolutely.
You gotta unmute.
Going back, and I'm not trying to like slander someone's reputation.
Yes, you are.
I'm
In the chat, they said she has a baby with him. No, he's got a new lady now that
Yes.
he has a baby with. She released this after they had the baby so that they could argue while the baby's in the other room
Yeah.
about his ex-girlfriend because she's a manipulative, bad person.
See you
Yeah.
next Tuesday.
literally sharing
That was-
their
that was-
own words. And not gonna lie, like part of me like waited until after she had given birth. Like not right after, but like a little bit after, so that his current fiance and the mother of his child, Olivia, I just hoped like she would receive some of these screenshots somehow through friends.
That is such
Like
scum.
friends of mine
She's scummy.
and that I met through
There
him,
is no
that I know are
defending
good
that.
people.
It's a relationship that didn't work out. Move on.
Yeah, that is.
He didn't physically abuse you.
Keep playing it. Keep playing it.
And I know would make an effort to protect her. Like,
That was it.
There's more that she said about the time.
I didn't want her to have to see all of this while she was pregnant because I didn't know what kind of stress that would cause on her
Oh, but if she's literally in bed
and
rest
her baby,
after
like
birth, that's
physically
fine.
and everything. And I'm sure the timing can seem bad, like, oh yeah, I like waited until he had a kid, but like I waited until she had her baby. So I
Do
knew
you hear that? She
they
had her,
were,
like, he has nothing,
physically
like nothing. It's not him.
not impacted
She
by
is
me
so.
sharing this shit. And
This woman is awful.
she could be informed and make an informed decision of how she wants to care for herself and her baby,
Yeah,
which
like-
she birthed and she created. Yes, it's his child, but
Oh my God.
but-
I hate
Like,
this woman.
Even
But I want her to take the baby away from
I
him.
hate her.
after she
That
sees these
woman's
screenshots.
so
innocent.
much.
that's how I see it.
You're scum.
that lady's
You're
scum.
absolute garbage.
She's scum.
And she's veiling her self-interested motives as altruism, which
Yeah.
is even worse.
And
in my
very
opinion.
feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It-
this
it
is toxic femininity.
Yeah.
You can see it very clearly. And she's jealous of his new woman who has the commitment that she probably wanted
Yeah.
from him but didn't get. And I will
I'm
place
sorry.
the blame on him for not committing to her but still expecting her to abide by his rules for a relationship when he had no real claim over her.
But he's not. He's saying you can if you want, but
Right,
you're
but-
not required to.
But you shouldn't introduce those standards or boundaries well into a relationship. That should be something that you get out of the way right off the bat.
It depends on what the behavior's like in the relationship. If
$20,
she's doing, oh yeah, there's
$20 super chat there from Dash Fortune.
No crisis party yet, even with Phil on, definitely feels like a Monday. Cheers, everyone.
Thank
Everyone tapped out on the 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
Look,
episode 400.
At the end of the day, you're dating the socially awkward dude with a lot of money, and that's going to come with some requirements
Yeah.
of you. I know that doesn't sound nice to say, but you're going to have to make some changes. You're telling me, if you want me to believe that they were splitting the bill 50-50 on everything they ever went out
I mean,
and did.
if he's a good male feminist, then they would be.
But he's not.
No, he's not.
Look, so,
She's not
I
either.
think that they're probably
She's-
both toxic people. I mean, the way
Yes.
that he said, I love how your therapist thinks I suck. I literally am the best boyfriend on earth. No one says that unironically who
But
isn't kind of
Here's the
toxic.
thing. Here's the thing, though. He didn't release this stuff. She did.
Right.
He didn't ask for this to be made public. She did. So I'm automatically hesitant to. First of all, she's only posting one side of the conversation. We see none of her replies or any of her behavior. There's no context given to anything that's being said, and her behavior and her explanations afterwards prove that she's doing this because she wants to harm him because
Yeah.
he's having a life with with somebody else and she's jealous.
Another thing that he said in the screenshots, which is telling about her motives, is if you want marriage and family, you can't use the 25 card. Step up and cut shit. These people don't get your time or your kindness at the sacrifice of mine. So she was probably dogging him because he wouldn't commit to her, and is now bitter that he's committed to somebody else. It's plain and simple.
Party!
And I think it's really sad that a woman in her 20s who wants marriage and family and was dating a guy who wouldn't give those things to her has to veil her frustration with that as some kind of like girl boss redemption
but
narrative.
this isn't just about her behavior. Like they talk about her like he doesn't want her surfing with other dudes, but he also talks about the women in your life that were bad influences on you. So he's seen behavior in her past that he doesn't agree with. He doesn't see how that fits into their life together. Is he saying it in a blunt way? Sure, but he has a right.
He's being nice though.
Yes, he's being more than polite, and he has a right to want what he wants in a relationship. We're past the point now. Like, look, was it right of him to get into this relationship with a woman that he would have later asked to take pictures down of? Maybe not. I would err on the side of saying, like, look, your behavior when you're single is not the same as your behavior when you're in a relationship. People take down pictures all the time once they enter relationships with other people. Is it right to ask somebody to do that? I don't know. But now we're here, and we have to judge it based on what we're seeing, and what I see is somebody communicating clearly.
Well,
look at the what she's putting out, like what she's saying 2 years later. This behavior right here only makes me think that 2 years ago she was a pile as well, and probably it was a chaotic, messy relationship, and he was probably like, look, these are the things I'm okay with because of things that led up to this. I mean, like you said, they're in therapy. What got them to therapy in the first place? You know,
I just think it's unfair or hypocritical or stupid that you got into this relationship through social media. You slid into her DMs complimenting one of her swimsuit pictures, and then you have a problem with swimsuit pictures.
No, and now he's saying,
it's the reason that you were interested in this person in the first place.
Now he's saying, I'm going to pay for everything. I want to be the one who sees it.
But he didn't say that.
But that's the fact of the matter, isn't it? Like, the fact of the matter is he's saying, like, now, like, if you're going to be a kept person, then that comes with some.
Well, then he would need to make that explicit. Yeah. That wasn't in any of the screenshots here. Yeah. But another thing he said is, F that contest, F that place, and F not respecting me always in every situation within surf culture, or you don't get it and you don't get me. It's hurtful and unacceptable to me. Get it? I don't know if you get it or care or give a shit about that shit more than me, even after Dr. Stern has said it loud and clear.
He does talk annoyingly.
Dr. Stern is the couples therapist that they were seeing once a week for about 4 months. Yeah. So he clearly values therapists' opinions about his life and relationships a little too highly.
But also, like, okay, let's talk about.
I don't think any guy who says this phrase, that would be hurtful and triggering for me, is the kind of guy that you want to be settling down with anyway. So maybe both of them won.
His language is very clearly coached language that he picked up from
triggering.
Therapy. But it is also like, okay, one sec. But it's also communicating what he wants clearly. Is it annoying? Yeah, but he's being clear. Women in today's culture do not like being told no. Look at Keke Palmer. She should be allowed to just go grind on Usher, and whoever she's dating should have no problem with it. We don't exist in a culture where women are held to any level of accountability when it comes to relationships. I'm not trying to be rude.
I was saying, like, all of the mustiest, dustiest women came out of the woodwork to defend Keke Palmer because they themselves want no standards when they're in relationships.
There is a 20
Corey Anderson said, I'm an idiot and forgot the hashtag for cute of the day and just sent his pic to the Twitter account, but my 19-year-old cat Bandit crossed the Rainbow Bridge this weekend and I have been crying more than I thought was possible. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for your loss, man.
R.I.P. Bandit.
Look, also the other thing that was interesting, like, okay, so let's talk about, so now that we've decided that she's not a surf instructor, is he talking about her just going and surfing with dudes? Because then the question is like, would you want your partner going and doing activities? Now, do we know if there was other girls in the group?
There are so many circumstances that are not being laid out here that would make every situation different.
And like, whatever it is, I just err on the side of I'm not giving this lady the benefit of the doubt because of how how she's gone about this.
That's where I'm at. Like, we can go ahead and pontificate about like what it was like 2 years ago when they were actually dating. What led up to them going.
Like height of COVID, they're just like they hate each other because freaking they're stuck inside together all day.
I mean, you can what if the thing to death, but the fact that the facts that we have are just these things, these screenshots. And judging by that and the context of it's years later, she specifically said, "I'm putting these out because I want to fuck up his relationship."
That's
Pardon
evil,
my French.
dude.
That's totally evil. Like that. So like, I don't give her like you can say like I agree with you. It is hypocritical to be like, oh, slide into the DMs and then be like, oh, yo, I don't like this. Like if you date a stripper, don't get mad when she goes to work.
Rich dudes marry models all the time and expect them to then change their behavior.
She's not a model, but I mean,
but I'm saying, but he's still asking her to change her behavior. Is the idea here that she's not going to surf anymore?
I get it. Look, there is an amount of behavior that has to change when you get into a relationship. I understand that, and again, I don't know what was said beforehand, but if the context being he slid into her DMs and everything being equal, then he just decides later, I don't like this. I get where Mary's coming from, and I agree. It is hypocritical. That being said, he's respectful when he's talking to her. He's laying out things that he finds acceptable in a relationship, and if she doesn't like it, she can leave. And he's not trying to like be like, oh, you're a bad person. He's like, look, I get it. I'll support you. These are the things I need. If you don't like that, that's cool. You can go do your thing. So I just can't see how he's the bad guy in this thing. I think that her behavior is awful. We got two $20 ones there.
Bad Kitty Mama said the way I'm reading the 25 thing is that she didn't want a family yet, that she's only 25. It seems like he's the one who wanted a family ASAP. I don't think her issue is his non-commitment. Okay, that could be interpreted multiple ways. But I mean, the context is left out for a reason. She's strategically leaving out anything that she texted him back in this situation.
I also just take issue with going as far as calling this emotionally abusive.
Call it
bad communication all you want. Call it weird reliance on pseudo-intellectual psychobabble all you want. It's still clearer than
that
most
doesn't
of
make the headlines as punchy.
No, but it's still a more clearly defined list of expectations. Don't women always say that they get mad when men can't read their minds and they want men to be more clearly? They say, oh, men just grunt their responses and don't have anything to add, so we don't know what they're thinking. He's telling you exactly what he's thinking, and I'm supposed to read some type of subtext into what that is. Sorry, but given the way you've released all this stuff, I'm not willing to give you the benefit of the doubt here. He's probably not any better. He is still a Hollywood male feminist. I'm sure he's an absolute nightmare of a human being to be around. But in this case... Yeah. Sorry, you don't get it.
Francisco Sanchez Jr. said, I walked a mile in the rain last night in New York City to see Sound of Freedom, worth getting wet, and the one and only time I will be in a movie theater this year.
Awesome, man.
Nice.
That's awesome that you went and saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's calling this abuse because she wants to make this into a victim narrative.
And she very clearly understands what his stage in life is now, pointing out the fact that he now has a kid. Like, if you're telling me that your goal is like, oh, well, it's bad if they argue about it while the baby's in utero, but the baby can be in the next room while you fight about me. That's just fine. Like, kick rocks, lady.
It seems like she secretly wants the baby mama of Jonah Hill to leave him with the kid.
Yep.
And leave him, I mean, it's the goal of cancel culture is to get, to see your nemesis, live in a box somewhere, to just go and die.
That's what they because the creepy lady couldn't handle being with the socially he's admitted in interviews because he said he doesn't like doing red carpets anymore because he has bad social anxiety. He doesn't like that stuff. You got into the relationship with the weird socially anxious rich dude.
She didn't provide screenshots for this, but she also claimed that part of the reason he didn't want her to post swimsuit photos was because he's insecure that he doesn't have a hot beach body either.
That sounds like fake news. I don't believe that he actually typed that out. Unless she posts the screenshot, I'm not buying it.
Hasn't he lost a lot of weight? Not that I imagine he looks sickly now.
He looks sickly. I had a picture of it.
I imagine he's going to have a bunch of extra skin and stuff. It's not going to, he weighed enough where if he got skinny
he's
or whatever.
He's fluctuated a lot.
He's going to
there are plenty of women all over the world who have censured their behavior in favor of marrying rich men who can take care of them. This is not new in culture. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying
she made her value judgment.
You want to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
He's already had his cake and ate it too, as we've been able to see in the past.
I wanted to read a couple
picture here.
of comments that were on Reddit about this situation.
It's not good.
One said, "These texts resonate with every millennial woman in America. We have all received these texts from a boyfriend. We have all warned our loved ones after receiving these texts from their significant others. This shit is so common, and I love that she's talking about it. Our society has a real problem of insecure men. Mix that with learned misogyny and low self-worth, you get yourself an average asshole loser boyfriend who you can't take out anywhere because they'll ultimately kill the vibe and embarrass you. Bravo to Sarah Brady."
He's not killing the vibe of any room they go into because he's the famous one. Sorry,
And then
you're wrong.
Another one said, "This is a special type of abuse that seems specific to our generation. Like our moms were straight up controlled by men because it's a woman's role. Whereas men in our generation deep down want all the same patriarchal benefits their dads benefited from that they feel entitled to. But they also want to feel like modern progressive ally men. So they manipulate us with therapy jargon and gaslighting."
Women
we
are the
don't.
ones that
Nobody
want to
wants
go-
to feel like a modern progressive man at all. Nobody likes that. They do that to to survive in the world the way that it is.
I suppose it is fair to say that since women are the ones who tend to be obsessed about therapy, that progressive men would fall in line with that too.
That's another thing. You hear her going on and on about like him him being too.
By the way, here's a
friendly
picture of
with
him,
his
guys.
therapy.
He is very thin looking.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's giving Robert Downey Jr.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I hope he's okay.
You hear her talking about all
like,
the
this is what
therapy
happens.
stuff
You date that Sarah lady for 2 years, and this is what you end up looking like.
The whole therapy thing, like, it's supposed to be something that is you want people to be open to, and it's supposed to be okay, and we want men to go and get in touch with their feelings, and that's all the stuff you hear from feminists, and progressives and stuff. And then he's going to therapy, doing what the therapist says apparently or allegedly, and now she's saying, "Oh, you're too interested in what your therapist says." Again, it's a consistent mixed signal that feminists send to men.
I mean, no one should be surprised that like what feminists say they want out of relationships is not what they actually want.
Well, I mean, yes, no one should be, but then we all have to make believe that it's atrocious when feminists, are get what they want and they end up unhappy.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you're right, that they're probably just happier and better off without each other. It's just that, did any of this need to come out after the fact? No, it did not. So let's go to Super Chats.
Let's see. Andrew Jacobs said Barbie voice. "Hi, Barbie, Brett."
Not funny, okay? I will turn this podcast around right now.
He did get compared to Ken.
Yes,
in the hair
okay.
salon.
When I was having my hair done, the lady goes, "You're gonna look like a Ken doll." I'm like, "Please don't say that." and my question was this. Okay. In this scenario, what's worse? Being compared to a Ken doll because you're really excited to go see a Barbie movie? Or waiting till after you see the Barbie and then being called a Ken doll because you were so obsessed with the movie you just watched that you went and dyed your hair blonde? As far as I'm concerned, neither was a good option. So I had to get it done as soon as possible so they wouldn't
You're
make...
ahead of the trend.
If I had waited a week, she'd have been like, "Oh, going to see that Barbie movie, huh?" And that would have just, crawl in the hole and die.
Yeah.
Disco Jensen said, "Is it weird that I think of PCC and chat as internet friends?" It might be weird, but it's okay.
It's okay.
Yash said, "Happy belated 400th episode. Here's to 400 more. Hair looks better this time. I retract my vote." Yeah, last time I did the bleaching myself, so we didn't really get a professional, look afterwards. Also, Brett didn't have a haircut last time that made it look more polished.
Yeah, it's as good as it could possibly come out with somebody who just doesn't have blonde hair now.
You shine up, yes, Brett.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Hey, it's Brett with the good hair."
See,
perfect.
There's all these good hair comments.
But it is human instinct to focus on the negative ones. So I'm going to go print pictures of those out and brood in a dark room with all the negative comments. Let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back after the fact. All right, let's talk about Diablo Cody because you found this topic, and Diablo Cody, she was the director and writer of Juno.
Yes, so she was initially considered to write a draft of the screenplay for Barbie, and this was back in like 2017, 2018. This movie was in production hell for quite a while, and Diablo Cody did an interview for GQ where she revealed that she couldn't write a draft for this movie because they were asking her to do the impossible. She said, they wanted a girl boss feminist twist on Barbie, and I couldn't figure it out because that's not what Barbie is.
That's totally not what Barbie is.
And coming from a feminist film director, which is Diablo Cody to a T, that's surprisingly honest. And this was also like back when they were considering Amy Schumer to play the role, and it was going to be just an absolute nightmare. I can't imagine a Diablo Cody directed Amy Schumer starring Barbie movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad it ended up where it's ended up.
Yeah.
But yeah, she said in this interview, I failed so hard at that project. I was literally incapable of turning in a Barbie draft. God knows I tried. I think I know why I shit the bed. When I was first hired for this, I don't think the culture had embraced the femme or the bimbo as valid feminist archetypes yet. If you look up Barbie on TikTok, you'll find this wonderful subculture that celebrates the feminine. But in 2014, taking this skinny blonde white doll and making her into a heroine was a tall order. And I just don't think that you need to like make the bimbo into a feminist archetype to write this movie.
I didn't realize the bimbo was becoming a feminist archetype.
It is, but only it's difficult to explain, and we've talked about it before. Basically, these like self-proclaimed bimbos, primarily on TikTok, are just using the bimbo aesthetic of like pink and blonde and like fake tits and like being everything that the male gaze supposedly desires, but also still being still being feminist and still being like book smart and subverting male expectations. So like you can use men for their money because you appeal to what they want visually.
That's what it sounds like.
But on the inside, you're still a girl boss.
You do understand. Did you ever see that video meme where it says like just bought a dude, just had sex with a dude, then bought bought pizza and sent him home in a cab? It's like, let's see how men like it. And the guy's like, oh,
dude's like,
darn.
yeah, get into the cab
with
the guy doesn't
bimbo
care.
aesthetic, like feminist thing, it's more like I just got a guy to pay for dinner because I'm hot. Somehow this is a win for feminism.
The guy doesn't, as long as you have sex with him, the guy doesn't care.
Like
the guy could care less. Yeah. He doesn't care.
Yeah, which is why I think it's a giant cope. Yeah. Like the whole bimbo aesthetic being a feminist archetype is a cope because you're appealing to the so-called male gaze and calling it a win for feminism just because you can't admit to what your true desires are, which is to be desired by men.
They have to
put
college
that
has
being
made it
thin is important to you, being hot is important to you, being desired by men is important to you, getting provided for is important to you, but you can't admit to any of that, so you have to call it a feminist archetype.
All the college courses in feminist literature can't destroy your innate desires or biology or evolution. It's just not possible. So, but it is funny to watch them work overtime to try and intellectualize it away.
Some more of her comments said, that idea of an anti-Barbie made a lot of sense given the feminist rhetoric of 10 years ago. I didn't really have the freedom then to write something that was faithful to the iconography. They wanted a girl-bossed feminist twist on Barbie, and I couldn't figure it out because that's not what Barbie is. And
How
they
would you
also
define
mentioned
Barbie?
that, like, well, Greta Gerwig said that an essential part of writing Barbie's character is that she doesn't have introspection, which isn't feminist, right? Like, a woman who doesn't self-reflect is not a mentally capable, strong woman, right? So really, this is just women wanted a superficial movie, but couldn't admit to themselves that they wanted something superficial.
Where does Barbie's like story come from? Because there's no
Believe it or not, I don't know.
As far as I know, like at least as far as the doll goes, like there's no real Barbie canon, is there? I mean, there's imagined canon. There's people that have made movies, but and the point that I'm making, I guess, is like there's no origin story for Barbie. It's just Barbie's a pretty girl. That,
I guess this is what it's supposed to be. This movie is supposed to be an origin story for that character. But
maybe
prior to
Doll
this,
Click
it
in
was
the
just
chat
like,
would be able to tell. Maybe Doll Click in the chat would know the answer to that.
maybe the resident doll expert would know.
Yeah.
And also, they mentioned that Anne Hathaway was in consideration for playing Barbie after Amy Schumer was out of the picture because she didn't think that the story was feminist enough.
Andrina,
Amy Schumer didn't think the story was feminist enough?
Yeah.
That was the story? Good.
Andrina in the chat says there is canon, so I would be interested to know what the canon is, or whether that matters to a story like this.
I promise you. Well, I watched all of the Barbie movies that were made for kids like back in the 2000s, but is that the canon you're referring to?
Yeah. It's just
know.
When you see stories like this, you have to wonder like what it would have looked like to see that movie, because I think the Amy Schumer one would have been a disaster.
Yes, obviously.
I don't think that one would have worked.
And Anne
at all.
Hathaway would be more believable.
Oh yeah, like Anne Hathaway in 2018 would very much be in the same realm as to what a Margot Robbie is now.
Yeah.
Think about this: 2018. I think Les Miserables came out in 2017 or around that time period. The Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012, so she had a career trajectory upwards at that point. I think she could have played Barbie.
Yeah, I do too. She also, I mean, she still looks, I would say, like young enough to play the role today.
Yeah.
But like, I also feel like Jim Carrey would have made a great villain in this movie instead of Will Ferrell.
I think he would have
talking about this earlier, but you're saying he would have been too expensive.
No, I think him and Will Ferrell probably have similar price tags, but since Jim Carrey wants to retire, he's like, if you're gonna make me be in a Barbie movie, he should just ask for the moon.
Throw an unfathomable number at them.
But also, I think that Jim Carrey's style of acting would have been a bit. It would have like overshadowed the overacting of the other. He's so well known for his overreacting. As long as they would like
limit his screen time as the villain in the movie a little bit, then I don't think it would necessarily overshadow the protagonist. But I think Jim Carrey would have done really well in that role instead of Will Ferrell. But like, she's also saying a big consideration here was that they were kind of mocking a script based on the Lego movie, the way that they like made the Lego universe something meta,
but then it
where they make like
successful
self-referential jokes to the fact that they're toys. But now that enough time has passed, like no one is thinking about that, and it's able to stand on its own.
And both with Will Ferrell.
But I wouldn't expect this much intellectual honesty from a feminist director, to be honest.
And by the way, guys, it was Reitman who directed Juno. She wrote Juno. So I just wanted to correct that. That was my mistake. I forgot about that so long ago.
And I don't think that Barbie needed a girl boss feminist twist in the first place, since what Barbie has always stood for is that like you can do anything and be sexy at the same time. Like, she's had every job imaginable.
That is kind of her shtick, though.
She is a girl boss, and has been since the 70s and 80s, when that word wasn't a thing. But they needed to still, like, bastardize it into something,
they needed to bastardize it
for Amy Schumer fans.
Well, they have
that
to.
Was never
hey,
necessary.
if they're gonna force me to watch deconstructed male heroes, then you ladies get stuck with Amy Schumer as Barbie. It's only fair. That's equality.
There you go.
But I consider this a good thing. Also, there were some new details about what's been happening like behind the scenes with the Barbie cast. And apparently they had a group chat of all the Barbies and Kens while they were in production, except for Michael Cera, because he still has a flip phone.
Based.
Which is the coolest
Awesome.
thing Michael Cera has ever done.
It absolutely is. Also, they made them like, they created a literal pink tax on set where they had to wear pink at least once a week.
Margot would go around the set collecting donations from anybody who didn't wear pink that day and donate them to charity.
Imagine rich ass Margot Robbie.
But it's kind of you don't really want a multi-millionaire celebrity to be collecting a tax from you on the crew.
I would say this better not have included crew. Like, you don't want to be some gaffer or a dude setting up lights being like having Margot Robbie with her ridiculously perfect golden ratio face coming up to you saying like, oh, you didn't wear pink today while you're lugging all this heavy equipment around. Guess you're going to have to pay the tax. Now I don't blame them for wanting to strike. You should strike.
Yeah. Michael Cera said, I don't have an iPhone myself. I have a flip phone, but I still think I wouldn't belong in the group chat anyway, because my character, Alan, is sort of in his own little world. And he said that Greta Gerwig gifted him a disc of NSYNC's No Strings Attached when they started filming, which felt like a guiding light in the backstory of this character.
Nice.
I'm so sick of them trying to intellectualize this movie. I'm
Yeah.
so sick of the over
That's my
intellectual.
thing,
It's
like,
so annoying.
You can desire something that's superficial entertainment and not intellectualize it, not make it any deeper than it has to be. It doesn't have to be a feminist girl boss twist. You can just want a pretty movie with pretty people in it, wearing pink, making funny jokes.
What I
No,
was
you
saying was
cannot.
what I was saying is like it's kind of nice. It's like, look, as annoying as I find the attempts to make this smarter than it is, seeing women go around dress in pretty clothes and do things that women like to do is kind of a welcome reprieve from all of the women who have to pretend like they like action movies. They don't like them. They don't
Just
even
pat them on the head and say, yes, you're a good little feminist.
Yes, like when all these women are like, "Oh, I love this character. She's so strong and powerful." I was like, but she looks like she's never held a weapon before in her entire life. It goes against nature. They don't want to do
Women
this.
don't give a crap about Tomb Raider.
They don't. Well, they might give a crap about the game. I don't know, but they don't care about playing spies or superheroes. That's not what women actually want in Hollywood.
Women don't give a
continually-
crap about the Marvels. That's for sure.
So like when you see women just get to live in their own realm where women used to be, which is making stuff for Barbie, I'm like, well, this is a nice reprieve from the postmodern Hollywood that we live through now.
The one issue I have with this movie still is that the other Barbies are not Margot Robbie level attractiveness.
Well,
Like,
you
they're-
know.
They look like charity cases next to her, and they should have gotten, like I said, Madison Beer, but maybe she should be in the
Sydney
Bratz
Sweeney.
movie. Sydney Sweeney, Paris Hilton, some really like, I don't know, like 90s styled skinny
I back
blonde
Paris Hilton.
bitches. Like that would be perfect. And instead they got Issa Rae and some like transgender actor who's never, like no one's ever heard of.
Also, guys, when I say this stuff about women, I'm generalizing, but I'm saying on the whole, Hollywood tries to push women into things that have been traditionally male spaces because they
Yeah.
don't know how to write actually strong female characters. It's really funny.
Imagine Brie Larson as Barbie.
Here's a really
Do you
funny
think
one.
that she would be able to play Barbie?
No, she's kind of annoying.
Or one of the Barbies?
She could have been maybe one of the Barbies.
She could be in the background and just
yeah.
don't give her that many lines.
Also, like, look, I've been watching Walker Texas Ranger. The original Walker Texas Ranger from 1993. It's incredible. Everyone should go watch it. It is like this amazing time capsule of like a time when people didn't hate America.
Yeah.
And there's just, it's great. But there's this, the district attorney that's in the show. She's, she's the district attorney and she has a couple of feminist lines in the end of season 1. But for the most part, she suffers from constantly kidnapped syndrome where she's just like always but they never show her as bad at her job because it was more normal for a woman. Like they actually mentioned this in an episode of Castle. They say, most intelligent women go into, become lawyers, not cops, because it's more socially acceptable for a woman to become a lawyer and not a cop.
Well,
And
I mean, there's the whole like you have to go hands-on.
did you
part,
see
too.
that video recently of the two women trying to arrest the very small man? And it was and like finally they had to let the security guard come out and do
Beware
it.
of female cops.
Yeah, like well, just like short cops.
You're gonna get
And
shot.
short cops.
Never piss off a short cop. He will do bad things.
He
to
or
you.
she will do bad things to you.
So yeah, but
Has
I'm
there
just
been
saying,
a cop Barbie? Like,
I
have no
imagine
idea.
there probably was.
Probably. So yeah, like but in that show, she's a
Zone
lawyer.
6
She's
Barbie.
she's perfectly capable at her job. She's shown as being independent. She lives on her own. And this was in 1993. She's just not a physical specimen that's expected to act like one. Nowadays, you have to be able to do both because they don't treat women like women. They treat them as if they're just men, but with women's bodies.
I want it to be clear though that like Barbie has always been a feminist brand. Like they were putting out Barbies that were presidential candidates and astronauts since the 60s. Like through time, this was the original girl boss. So it's just redundant, the idea that you would need to put a twist on it to make it more girl bossified. Barbie has always been a girl boss and you don't need to make it anything else.
Barbie was kind of like the first girl boss, wasn't she?
She literally, they put out an astronaut Barbie in 1965. That was before we got to the moon.
Yeah.
That's impressive. She got there
Like,
first.
She was setting the trends. So
Yeah, but it's so funny that the way that society behaves is as if there has been
Ryan,
no
Right.
progress.
As if we were getting homemaker Barbie.
Right? You know?
Ryan Rubino in the chat, that is out of pocket, my friend. That is out of pocket.
That's good.
I'm from Minnesota, and I knew somebody who had a family member that worked out at the same gym as that lady.
Oh no.
That cop?
Yes, out of pocket,
Cancel
my friend.
your membership.
Woo! Well,
Taser.
That was a rough one.
On that note, let's just go
No,
to
no.
Superchats.
There was one more.
what?
Oh no, there was the pink tax. There was that. But right now, somebody just linked me to a bunch of merch that's being made, like Barbenheimer merch. So they're
like
yes.
off label.
yeah, but also like they're capitalizing on this by promoting that in a way that Oppenheimer is not doing. Like
Right.
Oppenheimer is not like the closest they've
The
gotten
best
to
marketing they ever did was pick the same release date as Barbie.
like I don't like it's crazy to think, but I don't want to see a Nolan movie fail. I love Nolan's movies too much.
I mean, maybe it won't fail, but I don't think it's going to perform as well as Barbie.
But they're not expecting it to.
Yeah.
Like not with the R rating. They're expecting it to make less. So, All right, we got some super chats there.
Urashima Otaru said weekend at Jamie's.
That
was also out of pocket.
That is very out of pocket. My hope is that Jamie is okay.
Deuce Boogaloo said, grinning ear to ear, seeing Pop Culture Ken return on the show today. Now it's just up to Mary to complete her wager. Okay, if you wanted me to do an update, I watched the first 5 episodes of Attack on Titan over the weekend, and I don't know if I can even review them because I hated them so much. Like, there's almost nothing to say other than, like, my pure disgust. Like, I feel like anyone who unironically loves this show, I mean, I'm judging based on the first 5 episodes, which is supposed to hook me in. I can't believe we're the same species if you like this show. 1000% genuine. Like, I don't.
The viewership just plummets.
Is the bar for anime so low
I can't believe
that Attack
we're the
on
same
Titan
species.
that Attack on Titan is one of the most popular animes, like especially in the West? Like, this is crazy to me.
The chat does not agree with you.
Someone please attempt to explain to me why Attack on Titan is good or why you like it so much, because I cannot even begin to understand why you like this show.
They're right.
I gave it a chance. I gave it a proper chance. I sat through it, okay? But also, on top of that, it's just visually, like, okay, I watched the dub. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but nobody specified, and I didn't want to go to the effort of reading the subtitles, okay? Sorry. But they were just screaming the entire time, like screaming bloody murder. All of the characters, just like, it was like making my throat hurt to listen to them scream that much. But also, like, visually, this show is just so boring. Like, it's like they did as much as possible to, like, not draw new drawings. Like, they were just doing as many still frames as possible. Or it's like, I guess this is just the style of anime, but like zooming in on someone's eye and having it like shake a little bit. Yeah. Just to not draw, like to go to as little effort as possible.
Isn't that made in Japan?
Well,
Also,
I assume so, yeah.
Is Attack on Titan made in Japan?
Everyone in the chat is again saying dub rather than sub. Well, as somebody who is, I have to do both, so I refuse your slander.
I tried to put on English subtitles while I was watching the dubbed version, but the English subtitles were in broken English.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that. And I did not stream this.
Listen, I gotta say, regardless of your take on Attack on Titan, Japanese people, the Japanese are not known for like shirking work, like being lazy or anything. So I feel like
It's unexpected.
I don't imagine that they would be like this either, or be like that with this particular show. So maybe it's not good, but I imagine it was an intentional artistic decision.
The physical contraptions that they use to like fly around with these like anchors, and they like anchor themselves to the Titans or whatever, or to walls, it doesn't physically make any sense. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief on that, but just like none of this show made sense. Nothing intrigued me. Nothing made me laugh. Nothing even made me lightly exhale through my nose. And I was not riveted by the action scenes. It was just ass. It was garbage. Garbaggio.
Okay.
There are no redeeming qualities.
Our subscriber count just tanks.
My opinion on anime has been confirmed. My bias has been confirmed.
$20 super chat right there.
From Tom Bombaderp, he said, Mary, I watched all the Barbie movies from the 2000s. Also, Mary, I don't get Attack on Titan. You don't say, Mary. Never would have guessed. Mary's so white, she makes Anne Hathaway look like Oprah. That is all. Okay, I watched the Barbie movies when I was 5 years old. Like,
Also,
obviously, I wouldn't understand that they're low quality animation and script writing.
I also do want to point out when somebody's like saying, like, because I kept saying they should have just made the Barbie movie animated. I'm not saying that, like, I did not know that there was Barbie movies before that. I'm saying that there hasn't been, as far as I know, a big budget. I wish they would have made a big budget one that they put out at the theaters, not a direct-to-DVD release.
Yeah, I mean, there have been, like, spoof movies. Nothing with, like, the Mattel stamp of approval.
There's another one right there.
Francisco Sanchez Jr. said, anime is mid at best. As someone who has watched anime for 30 years, I watched plenty to have that opinion. But Attack on Titan, if you look up, like, best animes to watch, I'm sure that's on all the top 10 lists. And this is the best they have to offer. It was not just mid.
They're not sending us their best.
It was well below mid. The standard that we have for anime is below the molten core of the earth.
And some I imagine are good people.
And yeah, some I imagine are good people. But
do read a couple more, and like we'll let them keep throwing tomatoes, but read a couple more.
I'm not gonna back down on this. I gave your show a chance. I did what was fair and right. I kept up my end of this wager.
Oh, wow.
Sketch therapy. Wait, what?
Good. I just looked it up, and there's 88 episodes, so you have
a total
83 more to go.
Oh,
no,
I'm not.
She just said she'd watched the first 5.
Oh, okay.
Only I committed
I'm not putting myself through that. No. But apparently it's ending soon, so that'll be a win for humanity. Sketch therapy said, not into dudes, but Brett looking hot. Let's be real.
Got to be a little bit into
Hot
dudes.
with an AW.
Yes, hot.
It's over 9,000 said, I saw The Sound of Freedom, and even though I'm not a father, nor do I consider myself religious, the phrase God's children are not for sale really resonated with me.
Yep, they knocked out.
You don't need to be religious to enjoy this movie.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and we will come back, shall we?
All right.
All right, guys, let's move on. Mary, tell us about Jill Scott, because she's out there doing some race baiting.
Yeah, so we recently talked about Taylor Swift changing some of her old lyrics to appease a feminist mob that doesn't even exist. And the lyric changes don't stop with her. Jill Scott actually, as a teenager, penned a version of the Star-Spangled Banner to address the original sin of our nation, slavery, and changed all of the lyrics to race bait. And maybe we should watch her performance of it to get a sense for what this song is about and what it's aiming to do.
Okay.
Because I would say this is about division, not unity. The performance, by the way, is not great.
I'm already over it.
Feels like you had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
Nope. Oh, God.
The singing is just bad, aside from the lyrics.
Disgusting.
Whose blood built this land?
Cringe.
With sweat and their hands, but you'll die in this place, and your memory reigns.
The singing is just so bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't do the song justice, and the song is bad too.
Does this
Sounds like an animal giving birth.
This is not.
This is not. Gross. There's a $20 one.
We'll wait. Don't judge a country by where it started. Judge it by how far it's come. Right? That's what you should be doing here.
By the way, one person responded to that post with Whitney Houston's rendition.
I wish. Not just that. Just the other day, I shared. Lillian Garcia from WWE did a rendition. Thank you.
Hey.
I would even prefer Fergie's over this.
Yes.
Yeah.
By a long
literally,
shot.
I would. Anybody's is better. Anyone's is better.
Perform the real Star Spangled Banner badly, and any of those would be better than this.
The whole point of that is it's essentially an attempt at deconstructing the Star Spangled Banner to make the U.S. seem like uniquely bad, when in reality the United States is uniquely good, right? Like the U.S. as an idea has progressed further than any other society in human history.
She's worth $12 million, by the way.
Oh my God.
Also, Bullet Shepherd said, watch Cowboy Bebop, then you'll regret your bad anime takes. No. I am not going to watch any more of your recommendations. If you think Attack on Titan is good, I don't trust any of your opinions anymore.
There's a $20 one there from That Stands a Test.
He said, is this an arrestable offense, defacing our national anthem? Also, tomato, tomato, tomato. Boo, tomato, tomato. Also, we got one from Deuce Boogaloo. He said, Mary proving today birth givers don't deserve rights. Every man I've shown Attack on Titan to had their mouths agape at the horror and drama, while every woman did the same. Why are they yelling? Where's the comedy? Tim and Ian are fans, by the way. Okay, I don't care if Tim and Ian like it. They're wrong to like it. It's bad. Brett, how about you watch the first 5 episodes of Attack on Titan and give us your thoughts?
I gave everybody the blonde hair. You want more from me?
Yes.
You want more from me?
Yes.
Look, Jill Scott, the performance is bad enough because, like I said, I have an addiction of sorts to watching old television from a time long forgotten in this country when we seem to have a more united idea around the fact that you were very blessed to be born here. Whatever your circumstance at the start of your life, America is the only country in the world where there's fat homeless people, and this is the greatest country in the entire world. And as far as I'm concerned, something like this, it's one thing to have that opinion. It's another to sing this and then tell me that this is not meant to divide people. It's always done at these points in time, right? There's a reason Colin Kaepernick does it during the national anthem, right? Because it is designed to be divisive.
With all of this country's problems, past and present, even if it's not the greatest country in the world, I should be allowed as an American to believe in it and be patriotic and believe that we're the greatest, even if it's not true.
You do not, your government is not your country. You're not, when people say they love America, you love your heart.
This song isn't about the government. And,
it was the government
and
at that
government
time.
corruption. It's actually about white people. This song is about villainizing white people, not the government.
I understand that.
I mean, easily any staunch libertarian could probably rewrite the Star Spangled Banner to demonize the government and then undermine patriotism for that reason, and it would still be just as divisive and wrong.
The point for this to me is look, I ride that line quite a bit, as somebody who is both very much love the patriotism of that time period, but not a patriotism tied to what the government does. Nor do I believe that they should be looking at this as something, like I said, don't look at where this country started. Look at how far it's come in a very, very short period of time. And it's another thing entirely to be lectured by millionaires about the evils of a country that made them millionaires.
This also isn't even talking about things that the government has done wrong. Like,
No.
it's not talking about war in the Middle East. It's about demonizing the white people who were born here.
Yeah, it's just about
and their ancestors.
It's just about casting the United States as a force for bad. It's just a way to make society, basically make Americans hate themselves. And in my opinion, it's a leftist attempt to make people hateful of the United States, so that way it makes it easier to change the structure of the government. So
and if you're naive, you should be able to like point to Jill Scott and as an example of how far we've come in terms of racial equality, at least in terms of outcomes, because as you said, she's worth $12 million. There are plenty of black celebrities who are, and even black entrepreneurs as well, and black politicians who are worth a lot of money, and if they're self-made, which is a testament to what's possible if you're born here.
Yep.
But that is all the more reason why she begrudges this nation.
They don't care anymore.
I'm sorry, nobody who was, none of the slaves who were shipped to this country centuries ago were not slaves beforehand. They were slaves in their own countries.
And the slave market existed before Europeans started to engage in the slave market. Like, and on top of that, like, every society in human history has at some point been just about every society has at some point been enslaved by another society, or at least has had a portion of that society become enslaved. Slavery was the norm in the whole world up until the 1800s. Human beings have been human beings for 200,000 years or something like that, 150,000. I'm not sure exactly, but like a long, long time, there's been actual human beings with human societies. Just because we only can just because we have record of society starting 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years ago or something like that, it doesn't mean that there wasn't societies beforehand. And human beings have always engaged in slavery. No society is innocent of that. And the way that the left portrays the United States as uniquely bad is it's all just about trying to discredit the U.S.
It's also why they got rid of civics in school and why they don't teach history, because they want you to be
We missed a $20
ignorant.
one from Darth Doza. Sel, what are your thoughts on the national language?
Also, chat, are we good? I need somebody in the chat to tell me if we're good or not, because I just want to double check. It says I got good signal, but it also is.
Did it drop out? You asking?
The stream looks good to me. I have
Okay.
it pulled up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Sound of Freedom.
No thoughts on national language.
Oh.
I don't know what that is.
Like our national
language? Is that what the question is?
That it should be English? I mean, I think we're in agreement there. But anyway, speaking of Sound of Freedom, although obviously slavery is illegal in this nation, Jim Caviezel talked about this and said, like, the U.S. is one of the #1 consumers of CP and almost one of the #1 producers of it. And slavery is still a thing globally and even in this country. So, I mean, that's not totally in our past, but you can't really race bait with that.
Yeah.
And when we attempt to talk about it, it's silenced by the same media that's applauding her.
If you talk about like modern day slavery, the people that are concerned the most about slavery seem to not be concerned with the most prominent modern day slavery. Yeah, they're interested in talking about past slavery. They're not interested
because
in
you
talking
can't
about
because you can point to that to not actually have to come up with a solution other than reparations or some other political discourse that would allow them to pump money into it.
Yeah, but I mean, also I think that there is a lot to the fact that if the conversation is about slavery and it is successfully pointed out that slavery still exists and it's not really race-based anymore. It's a lot of times it's mostly sexually based or whatever, and stuff like that. Then it takes a whole lot of steam out of the argument, because now the argument that people that make a lot of race-based arguments about reparations or whatever, they say that there's still slavery because of the prison system, and that people go to jail and then they're enslaved when they go to jail. And it's like, well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but those people did go, they did have due process. They went through the legal system, and the people that that need the attention about slavery today are getting looked over because people are making an attempt to basically get a political handout based on past slavery, as opposed to that same money that would be given as a political handout being used to address actual real slavery today.
Well, Jill Scott has nothing in common with anyone who is enslaved in this country, except for surface level skin color, but is feels somehow connected to their suffering because of the propaganda that's being pumped into our minds.
That's what I'm talking about when I talk about watching stuff from the 90s. There was for as much as you may disagree with a person, there was a unification around the country as a whole, which means look, at the end of the day, if somebody comes from the outside, all you got is your neighbors, yourself, and your country. And that was enough for people at that time. Nothing to do with the government and nothing to do with that country's past mistakes. You just understood that the way things were required you to, have at least something to coalesce around, it felt like. And that was what it was back then. And it resonates with me in a way that I don't think happens. It's why I don't want, when I posted about watching Walker, Texas Ranger, they were like, oh, the new one? I'm like, God, no. God, no. No, just never. The other good thing about that show is it says, instead of saying Chuck Norris is Walker, Texas Ranger, it says Walker, Texas Ranger is Chuck Norris, which is amazing. But I'm saying that this was at a time where his co-star on the show, Clarence Gilliard, is a black man. This is in the 90s, and there's no talk about what any of that means. His uncle in the show is Native American. I guess Chuck Norris is part Cherokee or something like that. But it's there was more unity back then when you had something you could universally believe in, like love of country, than there is now, where everything's been broken apart, deconstructed, and separated for the good of the people who are making you hate your neighbors because it's profitable for them. And I don't know a way to fix any of this. I really don't. But hearing that after seeing the Whitney Houston performance, seeing all of these ones, or we joked
after seeing the Creed performance.
Yeah, we used to be a country.
Yep.
Or even the Lillian Garcia one on SmackDown 2 days after 9/11. That was a time when there was unbridled patriotism. Should you have had universal faith in your government? God, no. But you should. But loving your neighbor or the people that you share land with, that is important. So.
The truth is, I'm just sick of the ingratitude and people like this spitting on the country that gave them the opportunities they have
to be as wealthy as they are.
Jill Scott would have never been able to build her career and success and wealth anywhere else on the planet, and is now spitting in the face of the society that propped her up.
I don't know who she is. What does she do?
She's a singer. She's been around for a couple of decades now.
I mean, did she have rhetoric like this in the 90s?
Not in the songs that I heard.
Because it wasn't
then,
fashionable. It's don't pretend to have convictions if you didn't have them when it wasn't as fashionable. In the 90s,
it really is. It is so fashionable. And I think back to the 90s, there were people that were that had these kind of opinions that she's expressing, but they were kind of the butt of the jokes. I forget what movie it was, but there was that song, I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I forget what it was. It was a movie from the 90s. But I think it was the Wayans brothers or something like that. And they were lampooning people that were politically, that used their race as politics. I don't want to just call it identity politics, because it was beyond identity politics. It was their entire, their whole shtick was wrapped up in it.
There's people that made fun of Sharpton and made fun of those guys for being grifters.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. And it is also particularly awful because it's the national anthem.
CB4, thank you, Rhaegar.
Because
CB4,
because it was the national anthem, and it's like I said, if you can't come together around children being abused, what can you come together around? If you can't come together around your national anthem, what hope do you have? You have no hope against a country that's far more unified than you. That's for sure. So. And this is the reason why that's important in these topics is because this is not anyone can ignore a politician talking about this stuff. It's a lot harder when it's being pumped into the culture that exists around you. So, all right, let's go to Super Chats.
Disco Jensen said, temperatures haven't been more extreme in the past 15 years. AC going out could be any number of issues, but I'm willing to bet at least one hit.
Oh my, you know what they should have done? They could have effortlessly just been like, guys, it's because of climate change.
Could be demons.
It could have been, well, no, they don't want to believe in that. They blame climate change. That's what they do.
OG Helmsway said, hey, crisis actors, just got my hair cut today and will be dyeing blonde soon. Love you all. I love that Brian just jumped on the wager, even though he didn't even have to.
He didn't even have to.
He is going to go blonde. I hope that he can debut his hair on the show.
Let us hope.
Shane H. Wilder said, Sound of Freedom is not the stunning and brave they are looking for, so they have to bash it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to wonder how would the response have gone if this were about adult victims of trafficking rather than children.
Well, it's a conspiracy.
Would it have been like labeled a conspiracy theory? And
another thing we didn't point out. Another thing we didn't point out is that the Rolling Stone had an editor. There was something proven recently where like they hushed up a story about one of their editors who had some very bad stuff on his hard drive. Also, it isn't known. Do you remember when it came out with that reporter on a hot mic talking about how their producers killed her story about Epstein? Like she was she was okay. So it was like a reporter at a news station, and she was talking about how she had this whole expose on Epstein, and her editors basically, like her producers at the network, said no, can't run it. So this is not new, and it's not a conspiracy theory.
Gordon Shimway said, many studies have shown that female rulers have started many wars. To think a woman would never use nuclear arms is ridiculous.
Hillary Clinton would do it in
a second.
Like somebody could literally just spill a soda on the ground someplace she didn't want it spilled, and she would hit the button. Everyone knows that. Like the only thing she won't seem to do is divorce Bill. That's about the only thing.
That's because
say
Bill
what you will, but she's loyal.
Well, no, she's not loyal to Bill. She's loyal to power.
Yeah.
Do you think that she's cheated?
I don't think she has. I don't want to think of her.
I think Bill made her a lesbian.
I don't think either. I don't think she's a human anyways. She's probably the reptilian.
Yeah.
Which makes Chelsea half reptilian, which is kind of creepy.
I think Bill made her a lesbian.
Let's do one more and then let's move on.
Jay Raymond said, picked up a new fan after your coverage on Sound of Freedom. Thanks, gang. Phil, All That Remains is one of my favorite bands.
Cheers, bud. Thank you.
In the chat, McSavage 1975 says, New Jack City, Chris Rock made a great crackhead. Yes, he played one of the most believable crackheads you'll ever see in New Jack City. It's fantastic. All right, let's hold off on the rest. We will come back. Let's talk about bad fan service, ladies and gentlemen. First stories first. 90 Day Fiancé actress Stephanie Matto is being ridiculed for selling the grave plot next to her to a fan for $100,000. And you think women wouldn't start wars?
Okay, this chick is hot. So
what? She is.
No, she's pretty.
Guys, debate it. Argue.
At least in the other photos I've seen, she's first, a little.
In the okay link that you put up on here,
the top photo,
top picture, she looked good.
Otherwise, show the video of her announcing and explaining.
Let's watch this video, guys. You're going to lose a lot of faith in humanity. Are we ready? She looks like Play-Doh Grace Kelly.
Where's she from?
She looks like Play-Doh Grace Randolph. Here we go. She's from here.
A $100,000 graveyard plot to one of my biggest fans on my Unfiltered this past week, and it was honestly one of the most surreal things. I literally think that I made his life. Like, I think he's just going to be waiting his whole entire life for the moment that he's going to be buried next to me, and it really has me thinking of different ways that I can make money, and I think my next move is to just like buy an entire plot of land and create a cemetery for all of my fans who can't be with me in life, but like maybe possibly the afterlife.
Wow.
Let me know your thoughts.
She's got to be trolling. Though.
Asteroid 2024.
She's definitely trolling.
It better be trolling.
I mean,
even if she actually
no, because this is the lady who sold her boob sweat. Okay,
she sold like jars of her.
Says
boob sweat. how do you even have that much boob sweat that you're able to sell jars of it, that you're able to bottle
it's tap water. Like...
It says Stephanie, who made history with her now ex-girlfriend Erica for being the first LGBTQ couple to be featured on 90 Fiancé, has been selling her boob sweat for up to $500 a jar and claimed on Instagram that she'd already made thousands of dollars.
The caption says, when your fans can't spend real life with you, why not the afterlife? For one of my fans, I found the solution. Thanks, John, for your purchase. For when the day comes, I know you won't regret your decision.
Look,
that's because you'll be dead.
Yeah.
And you won't regret anything.
The only way this is like I guess like
this is cancer.
Didn't they say like he saved up for it too? It's one thing if you're just like a billionaire and you want to spend $100,000 ironically, but please don't.
Yeah,
don't.
Also, what was this
what are you doing saving up, buddy?
This like shoulder movement she was doing in her video. She's like doing this the whole time.
I don't know. I didn't see.
I can't.
I guess she was trying to put the girls on display.
I can't.
Sell more of that boob sweat.
The girls.
She just guys, if this is happening, there's actually a great. It's almost fortuitous. There's a great Ryan Long video that came out today about how like who you're really sexting when you're sexting OnlyFans chicks, and it's a guy.
You're just a guy in an Indian call center.
Yeah, like everything is sourced out to India. Of course, it's a guy, and they're probably pre-selected replies. He just hit like something comes in, and he hits one button, and it automatically goes back.
I just feel so sad that people like this exist. Like your life has to have gone a very specific way. If like it's one thing if you're just like a loner and you're more solitary in your existence, but then like you clearly crave human interaction enough that you're giving money to some vapid rich lady.
Someone said, so if you die from an accident very soon, this person probably will commit suicide to be with you. Because the idea of buying the plot in the first place says something about the mental state of this person.
It does.
Yeah.
There's a $20 one there from Francisco Sanchez Jr.
He said, Brett, sorry, I forgot to mention the red hair looks good on you. Next time, consider strawberry blonde.
I can't do red.
I don't think I would endorse that decision. Yeah. But she had to own the plot next to hers to even make this happen.
What's a
Seems
plot
like
cost?
a scam.
Well, I mean, she charged this guy $100,000, but like how much it actually costs, I have no idea.
Now she's gonna buy out the whole cemetery for all of her fans. I didn't know who this woman was until today.
You know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like the where you can buy a star on a star registry. Like,
you can be a lord or a lady. You buy a portion of land in Scotland or something like that.
The women are loving this. One said, "Girlie is a marketing genius and knows how to keep going viral."
She's
they're right
about
the other side available, please?
Every time there's a story like this, and there's some kind of there's always a ton of awful women in the replies.
One of the simps said, "How much to be in your coffin?" She said, "I haven't thought of that actually, but thank you for the idea."
Like, they're not wrong. She's fantastic at marketing herself. It's just awful. And it says, and to be fair, like, as much as it says about her, it says more about the people willing to do it.
It does. It does say a lot about the guys that are willing to do it. I mean, which is embarrassing. I mean, it's for a plot of land like when you're dead next to someone you don't know, like, do you have that little hope of your own life of ever meeting someone?
Like, I don't know if this story is real, but off of the assumption that it is real, this is an evidence of the loneliness epidemic, especially in men.
Well, yeah, because if you set boundaries, they release your text messages on the internet, and you get in trouble.
I saw a meme that said, like, next time your boyfriend asks you to delete your bikini pictures, ask him, is that the Jonah Hill you want to die on?
Yep. That's when I put up the picture today, Jessica says the Jonah Hill to die on as the name of the file. Like, come on, dude.
It's awful. Oh, and also one comment said, I used to work a couple of times at a cemetery. It's a great investment. Adding in all the necessities as well. I'm available to chat if you want an experienced salesperson in the field.
Yeah, I mean,
the women are conspiring to profit off of.
Andrina's right. I forgot. Hefner bought the plot next to Marilyn Monroe, right? Out of spite. Like, because if I remember correctly.
Why?
They didn't get along or something like that. Does anybody remember?
I don't know why, but in my mind, I think of them as living in different eras, but obviously Marilyn died young, so
You know what
that
we
would
need to,
make sense.
You know what we need to do? We need to create technology for these men where it like ages up the person that they're simping for, so that you can get in there. It's like, this is who you're going to be married next to. You're not going to be married next to a smoking hot 20-something. You're going to be married next to an old lady who spent $100,000 of your money on lip fillers and Botox. And she's going to look
Think about
disgusting.
how that stuff decomposes. Your silicone is going to be living in the grave
Don't
next to your skeleton for longer than your actual flesh.
They probably remove it, right? They probably.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know if they do.
Like, and it's not even like it's not like it's the plot.
They're just still packing peanuts
It's the
in the
plot
void.
next to. It's the plot next to her. Like it's basically getting like being able to sleep on the same bed but not touch her.
No, because you're dead. Like that is kind of the part that we are leaving out. Like, you're paying money that you can use while you're alive, so that way you get put into the ground next to someone that is dead when you are dead. You will experience none of this. And if there is an afterlife, you're going to hell for this.
True.
So it is a bad idea all around.
Look, say what you will about this woman, but she's an entrepreneur.
I was gonna say, as a
Self-made woman,
a laissez-faire capitalist would say, "Get your bag, queen." I suppose, like, right? Like, there should be no regulation against this. I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that. I mean, it shouldn't be.
This
illegal.
the guy needs to figure it out, right?
She sold this plot when she announced that she had some kind of deathly disease.
Yeah.
So does that mean she's still?
Wait, she does have a deathly disease?
Is she a terminal case? Is she dying soon?
Didn't seem so.
Because it seems like she's actually not. She
Then we
sold
find
this
out
under
she's
the
actually
pretense that she was dying soon.
She's saving it to save money to give to her like kids who've all got like diseases, and she's actually a saint. It's just awful. But that's not the only story here, Mary. We also have this story from Sky.
This is a former Disney Channel star named Sky Jackson. She did an Instagram live stream recently where she told her fans to send her $5 for a chance to win a MacBook.
Let's play the video.
Yeah.
Send me $5.
For a damn $5. It is called a raffle. I don't know if you guys have been to school before, but I know I've been to school, and we used to have raffles all the time where
the absolute state of Gen Z right now.
Ticket. You might get put in $5, $2, whatever, and you get a prize. Like, people do raffles all the time.
This is normal. You're crazy if you think that this isn't normal.
Are you Honduran? Yes, I am. Yes, the money goes towards the prize, and then, like I said, if there's anything left over, I'm doing a second giveaway soon. So that's what it's going towards. I do not need money. Me personally, I do not need money. And I'm not saying this like I'm in a bragging way or anything like that, or in a mean way. I'm just letting you guys know I do not personally need money. Like,
but
I am very
someone
fine.
book her.
But give me
someone book her for something.
Like, she's got to have a cameo, right? Maybe we can get a cameo.
Is a
from
MacBook the best thing that you can think of to give away?
If they're going to school, right? Like,
I don't know. It just seems like a weird choice.
Also,
like, no one knows how much money she's receiving. She could easily pocket the leftover.
She had 127,000 likes on the stream.
I don't know if you know about any of this, but are you familiar with Johnny Craig?
Yeah.
His MacBook scandal?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, what was that all about? He was like telling fans he would sell them a MacBook, but then actually just stole away with the money.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the details, but I know I remember Johnny Craig, and there was the whole MacBook thing. That was probably like late 2000s, right? And he was just stealing people's money.
The internet has changed so little.
Wouldn't what she's doing be technically gambling? Like, you could do a raffle where you enter your name, but charging them to do so sounds like gambling to me.
Gambling for children?
Yeah.
She found the loophole. But actually,
I mean, that's just what Chuck E. Cheese is.
She's 21. She might not look it, but she is an adult and should know better.
No, but I'm saying, but the people watching, it's still illegal to, can't, she does not have a gaming license, I would assume. Therefore, I don't think she could do this legally.
Yeah.
Very
weird. Another person quote tweeted and said, I wonder if she's feeling sick whenever she sees the success of like Zendaya or Jenna Ortega. Probably. Someone booked this girl. She thought that Disney Channel was going to be her launch pad into a real acting career. And it didn't.
Like Zendaya
enters.
Zendaya enters and wins. And it's just a bigger slap in the face. Like Zendaya wins the MacBook.
Whoa. She got into a Twitter beef with Azalea Banks years ago, apparently. Azalea Banks said, LOL, your mom's been pimping you out to Disney since you were a little girl. Let's see what you end up like at 21. Well, she's 21 now, so we found out. She added Azalea Banks and said, I had a career before Disney, and I'm sure I will after, and I know I won't turn out like you, bitter and miserable. Fix your life.
Aww. It's just, guys, don't give the celebrities the time. Not in this way. It's not good. Okay, then here's a better question. What's worse? $100,000 for a grave plot next to a reality TV star, or entering a sweepstakes for Sky Jackson?
It would be like, I feel like it would make more sense if it was a giveaway, like I'm gonna do a meet and greet with you or something, not like I'll give you a computer. We got one from Darth Doza that says, autocorrect cost me $20. Phil, I enjoyed your take on Timcast the other day with respect to communism and fascism. I was curious about your thoughts on if a national language would be unifying or just...
Hold, please. Answer once we're done listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Every time I hear it now, I think of all the people who have to watch these segments and then wonder what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know that we need to have a national language. I don't have a problem with it. Like, I don't have a problem with, like, the United States, like, if it was like, English is the national language, that's what most people speak. I don't have a problem with it, but I do think that there's probably value in having bilingual or multilingual people in your society. I don't have a strong feeling on it. I don't have a problem with people speaking Spanish. I don't know any Spanish. I should learn some Spanish because it would be practical.
So should I.
And that's what most people speak, but that don't speak English. But I don't have strong feelings on it, honestly.
Here's the thing, though. My issue with it is that for the last 20 years, Hollywood has portrayed everyone who doesn't speak multiple language as the bad guy for expecting you to speak English in America, where the majority of the population speaks English. So anytime they show somebody speaking a language other than English in a movie, they then portray the person who's listening to them as a jerk who says, like, why don't you just speak English? When that's not really the way how it actually happens with the average person.
I just saw someone commented on this and said Sky Jackson made a campaign to go after and dox racist white male incel trolls, and no one talked about this. No one pro-black stood by her, and the feminists didn't either. So I looked it up, and there's this headline that says Sky Jackson denies false claim that parents of the teen she doxed on Twitter lost their jobs, sparking outrage.
Denies false claim.
Wait,
I'm so tired of the media deciding.
She doxed a 13-year-old boy.
Hate it when that happens. It could happen to anyone who's a self-obsessed narcissist.
The 13-year-old boy that Sky Jackson doxed has been expelled from school, and both his parents lost their jobs. She literally put an entire family into poverty over, I can't repeat what the meme was that he posted.
But he's a 13-year-old.
Imagine being a washed-up celebrity at only 18. What an effing loser this girl is.
But the point is that the kid's 13. His frontal lobe is the size of a raisin. Like, leave the kid alone. He said something stupid. When somebody says something stupid to you and they are a child, it is your job as an adult to be the bigger person and just ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
This is so weird.
Yep. I don't know.
She went on a doxing campaign against white male incels. This is all in 2020.
Maybe what she should have done is, like, help raise money so I can buy a MacBook so I can better dox white males.
Could Sky Jackson really get in trouble for exposing racists on social media? The legality of exposing racists on social media.
So they say, so not doxing, it's exposing.
Yeah, well, it's because they're racist.
Okay, but you're
and then,
with your celebrity platform,
opinions.
you're posting what they posted that's offensive, knowing that your fans are going to find their personal information and dox them and get them fired from their jobs or expelled from their schools.
But beyond that, you're also you're taking a message you don't want people to see and making it wider because your platform is larger than theirs. So you're actually shooting yourself in the foot, as well as being dumb. So.
She told Entertainment Tonight that after hearing about racist bullying for her own fans, she realized that she could do something to help, involving exposing the bullies' names and tagging their schools, colleges, and employers to spark real-world consequences.
Yep, that's the world we live in now. Keyboard warriors, the lot of them.
Slacktivism.
She posted this on her Instagram story saying, during this sensitive time, I've seen some horrific statements and social media videos made by some Caucasian teens and young adults. Let me say this. If I see you post it, I will expose you. If you think you're big and bad enough to say it, I will most definitely put your own words on blast. Don't reach out to my team accusing me of bullying and causing you pain. How do you think your words affect my people? Your privilege won't get you out of this one. So no, I will not take it down. Next time, think about what you say. I will never condone racist remarks, quotes, or slander, etc. You're the real bullies. You're the victimizers, not the victims. Go boo-hoo somewhere else. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Well, look at where she is today.
I'm over it.
She's grifting for a $5 donation on her Instagram live stream.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe somebody there needs a new house and she's going to buy that colors lady.
I think she needs a job.
I hate it. I just hate it all.
All right. Let's do super chats there.
Okay. Tom Bombaderp said, PSA, tomorrow is free Slurpee day.
Sign me up.
Where?
Like, who
7-Eleven. That's where Slurpees are.
Is that the only place you can?
Slurpees are 7-Eleven. Brand.
So it's a brand name.
It's a brand.
Oh, okay. I'm not
Everything
really...
else is like an Icy or no. Icy's a brand as well.
Yes, Icy's got the polar bear with the red and the blue.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure.
It might
Slurpee is definitely 7-Eleven though.
I've never really been into Slurpees.
Like now, everyone's gonna go and try to get one at another place, and they're just gonna be like ruining everybody else's day. You're gonna go into a
wait. Is tomorrow?
I mean, that was how it was when...
oh, yeah, tomorrow's 7-Eleven day. That's why. Tomorrow's the 11th.
Duh.
It's 7-Eleven.
That makes perfect sense.
First,
some poor guy...
Gas is $17.76 at Sheetz. Everyone's lining up down the block.
Yeah.
Now it's free Slurpee day.
That was the stuff that annoyed me, was people like people who are like insulting the people who went to do that because they're, look at these idiots going to do it. I'm like, can you not
We're
have
in a
any...
damn recession.
Can you not have anything nice without people being just rude?
Everybody has something to say. Crappy. Everyone has something crappy to say, and like... The chats that you see in IRL specifically prove it.
Yes.
Vanguard N7 said, Brett, I used the pickup line, they won't let you in the movies because you look like a snack, on my wife for our anniversary. She loved it. It works. Nice. Well, I mean, I think it's a little different if she's already your wife.
There is some absolute unfair comparison.
I feel like if you went up to a stranger and said that, you might get a different response.
Listen, I take issue with that because if you go up to the stranger and the stranger finds you attractive, they will respond positively. If they do not find you attractive, they will respond negatively. And the pickup line is not as important
as whether they find you attractive or not.
Exactly.
Well, this guy's got an advantage. His wife clearly already finds him attractive.
That's
otherwise,
true.
she wouldn't have married him.
This is true.
Home field advantage.
But it's true. But if you go up to if you're a dude that's unattractive and you go up to a girl with the best pickup line you can come up with, right? Something super clever or whatever, she's not going to respond well just because of the clever line.
So
if she finds you unattractive,
is, I need to find a lady with a shirt that says "Love Short Kings," and then that is the sign.
That's a very specific
shirt. Yeah,
desire.
Exactly.
That's going to take you a while.
Shane H. Wilder said, I apologize, Brett. Your blonde meme is up. Don't hate me. I do it out of love and camaraderie.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you.
Disco Jensen said, high-profile people put me off because of tabloid stuff they get into. You don't hear about billionaire real estate and investment bankers carrying on.
Well, that's what I said. Like the lady smart enough to hook the billionaire. Look,
I don't think any of Jeff Bezos' ex-GFs are trying to expose him for.
There was a whole lot of talk about Bezos' divorce, though.
Yes.
True.
Plus his
but not from his ex-wife.
Plus, his new lady is always in a bikini. And Bezos doesn't seem to care.
I don't think he does.
But that's because he's also shirtless with his roided out frame now, looking good for his age. So
he's like, Jonah Hill, get on my level.
Exactly.
Right.
Mountain Goat said, calling this emotional abuse is absolutely delusional. This was straight revenge on her part.
Yeah, same thing.
It was not emotional abuse. Absolutely.
Tom Bombaderp said, Roseanne Barbie, make it so.
Would that be the Barbie that makes jokes about?
We need a Carrie Lake Barbie.
Them?
Yeah, a Carrie Lake Barbie.
That would work.
Who else?
She is literally the presidential candidate Barbie.
She's also a very bossy boss.
I'm cool with that. I'm also cool with a Lauren Boebert Barbie if they would have guns. It would have a family with guns.
Garant said MRAs need to infiltrate Harlequin rom novels. Flavio will be on the cover, a fat, balding, big-gutted, realistic man for all the women to have to like.
Did we miss one from Hiroshima Otaru about Attack on Titan?
He said Attack on Titan is nowhere near the best. It's just popular.
And then one under that from Unusable Alpaca.
Yeah, we were going in
Okay.
order.
I don't
Unusable
have the one-
Alpaca said Attack on Titan has more to do with the political messaging, authoritarianism, but you need more than 5 episodes to get into the world building to see. I'm not interested. And I thought that the political messaging was extremely on the nose. And I don't care for it. Wrath said Attack on Titan came out during the zombie craze of the 2010s. It was a mix of zombies and kaiju themes, one of the reasons why it exploded in the West. Okay.
I love Mary's put upon facial expression right now. She's just like, fine.
This is like the meme of like the girl in the club getting mansplained to, and
Yeah.
like the guy
Or the
screaming in her ear.
There's also the baseball. There's the guy at the baseball game.
That,
doing it too.
like, grabbing
was
her
my-
neck.
That was
That's
my
literally
personal
me
favorite.
right now. Dash Fortune said, Kayuza-sama Love is War should have been the anime for her review. No politics, just wholesome romantic comedy. Well, it's a good thing that wasn't the one for review, and I don't like any anime regardless of the genre. Shane H. Wilder said, WTF did I just listen to? I think I lost a few brain cells, and I'm pretty sure my ears are bleeding a little.
He's talking about
Yeah.
the song.
Like, you can change the lyrics, but at least sing it well. She sounded like a cow giving birth.
No, I don't. She can't even do that. Don't change the lyrics. Don't change the lyrics.
Daniel Ikpiyama said, LOL, the real issue is that everyone's trying to recommend shonens to Mary, who definitely isn't someone who would like shonens. I don't even know what that means, and I don't care. Disco Jensen said, so Jill Scott is a CIA asset? Got it.
Maybe.
Holly Movie Star said, Vampire Hunter D is an awesome anime from the 1980s, and Mary would make an excellent Doris with that electric whip and rifle.
There you go. They're going to keep making suggestions to you, Mary.
Okay.
Yes. Forever.
Don't anticipate a cosplay. The Ninja said, Iced Earth Star Spangled Banner is the best.
There you go.
What is that?
Iced Earth is a band.
Oh, yeah.
Also, one of the guys, the guitar player from Iced Earth, was in the Capitol on January 6th. So Mr. Schaefer, it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea.
Did he get indicted?
There was court stuff that went on. I don't know the details, but he might have spent time in jail, but he might not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he definitely had some court dealings because of his poor behavior.
Poor choices.
Yes.
James Orenthal Wen said, Chuck Norris doesn't sleep, he waits.
He does.
That's the other thing is like, dude, okay, here's the thing about the show. It's so bad. And I love it. Like his delivery.
Come on.
Like it's amazing. Like the other actors, like there's a great episode with Bruce McGill early on where you see the gap in talent as an actor, where Bruce McGill's giving all these great lines as just this sleazy bounty hunter. And then every line Chuck Norris gives is wooden. And it's amazing. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. And the other thing about this show one thing Hollywood's gotten much better at is he hits somebody once and they're out for like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Like he just punches them once and they go flying across the room.
As if dead, yes.
And they just sit there.
Yep.
It's the best part.
Don't get up.
It's over 9,000 said Chuck Norris attacks sharks when he smells them bleed. Perturbed Alpaca said Graveyard Girl is mid at best.
I agree. Also about Chuck Norris, he's like like I was reading about him. He's like a hilarious neocon. Like he's got like this like,
Well,
it's
yeah.
like he's like John McCain's not too bad. It's just
He was a pro McCain.
That's how you
dude.
can be a conservative in Hollywood.
but he's
super
also
pro-war.
But he's also like very religious. So that was like he's believes in Christianity and patriotism, and by that extension in the 90s that meant one thing, and that meant going overseas for oil. That's exactly what that meant.
The DJ Foy said, isn't she the chick who was selling jars of her farts then ended up in the hospital due to diet-induced constipation?
Yes.
Bruh.
See, constipation seems like it would be a problem if you're trying to
Ew.
sell farts.
C2 Gaming said, thanks to Phil, while y'all were watching anime and movies, I was watching a 5-hour video on TIK history about tick history about how Hitler is a Marxist. Thanks again.
I mean, doesn't he actually say that?
He's not a Marxist because he's very similar to Marxist, but he's not a Marxist because he didn't like.
But he calls himself a socialist.
He's definitely a socialist.
I'm thinking of the quote.
Yeah, they were the Nazis were socialists. They believed that the nation should be a socialist nation. They had like their party platform that they released in the 1920s like shared like 15 of the same points that the socialist platform did. The difference was that they were national socialists as opposed to Marxism, which was an international socialism.
Well, I've been told that nationalism is bad, and you're not supposed to. Yeah.
I don't think nationalism in and of itself is bad. I think socialism is far worse than nationalism.
Gnarly66 said, Phil, can my band Hollower get a guest spot from you on an upcoming song? I love All That Remains.
We can talk about it, but it's not cheap.
Yep. There you go.
So.
All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already?
And the poll.
Yep. Oh, yes, and I did put up a poll.
Let the truth come out.
I put up a poll. I said, what do you like better, blonde Brett or brunette Brett? I should have put hat Brett as an option as well, but I didn't do that. 53% say blonde Brett.
That's
there you go. Look at that.
Now, when you guys gave us that much money to make blonde Brett happen?
They don't do that because they want to see blonde Brett. They want to see Brett be miserable.
Oh,
they like, I literally got comments that were like, watching your face every time there was a super chat, look crestfallen was my lifeblood.
53% still like it though.
So we'll go with it, but hit the like button on this video, guys. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Phil, my friend, let everyone know where they can find you.
I am Phil Labonte, lead singer of All That Remains. Phil That Remains on Twitter. Phil That Remains official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains, available on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, YouTube, the whole, the internet.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole internet. We're around there.
Mary, where can they... Oh, no, we got a $5 one there from Overdressed.
He said, your blonde hair is fetch.
I also heard I posted a video this weekend from Stormy G where it's like when a nice guy approaches you and then when a jerk approaches you.
That's what I'm saying.
Did you see that one? So in this video, like basically the nice guy's like, he's like, hi, it's like if you'd like to go out to dinner sometime, I just think you're so beautiful. She's like, I would rather jump off a 70-foot building than go out with you. And then then she was like, when a bad boy approaches you, it's the same guy, he's just dressed differently. He's like, hey, and he calls her like a really rude name. He's like, you're looking smoking hot, girl.
Bitch.
Yeah, he basically says like, he goes, I'm kind of on probation, but I got Wi-Fi in my car. You want to go Netflix and chill? She goes, say less. And he just picks her up and they leave.
At least she's on it.
Wi-Fi in my car. Do you want to go Netflix and chill?
And she goes, say less. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
I wish we could get Stormy G on this. She is a hilarious.
I have reached out.
She is she is so funny. If you want an actual funny look at feminist OnlyFans content from a girl who's actually got a sense of humor, check her out. She is great. All right, guys, before we go, again, hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Monday through Friday, this show is here, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to listen to this podcast rather than watch, we are on Amazon Music. We are on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show. That's where you can send us your PCC pets, please. Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.